This time of year, how about lowering your mortgage rates to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rates in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by calling Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait, no hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Act now. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out all higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 919-381-1760 and see how much cash you can get today. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Help us fight youth homelessness. Go to covenanthouse.org.
I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. DLN is a nonprofit that has helped me literally change the lives of people in my community through the Donated Dental Services program. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one of the many patients in need each year. If you're a dentist or know a dentist, please share this information. Like me, they can make a real difference in someone's life. DLN makes it easy.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more. That's willyouseeone.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Cloudy skies this afternoon, some scattered light showers. We may see that repeated again closer to midnight. This afternoon, we'll see mid-50s, and then early tomorrow morning, we'll drop down to near freezing. Tomorrow's going to be a cold day. We'll only recover into the 40s during the afternoon, and it will be windy.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 163 points to 49,028.
A long drive kept out in front. Bussey with the save. Rebound out in front. And Bussey will deny Stenberg. A chance here for Bukestad. And a big save by Bussey with the glove on the right hand as Bukestad let the wrister go. Bounce off the ref's skate and a chance there. Bussey makes the save as another chance on another turnover by Carolina. And looking to bury that one was Berggren, but Bussey makes the save.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Hump Day. What's going on, everybody? I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. Big news. You're going to want to be here in an hour. Dan Morgan, Panthers general manager, expected to join us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. I keep saying how the NFL, there is no offseason anymore. It's the in-season and then the get-better season. Well, in the quote-unquote offseason, this time of year, Dan Morgan becomes the most important guy in the Panthers franchise. And he'll be joining us to talk about the decision-making process. That's coming up at 4. You don't want to miss it. You can catch it on 99.9 The Fan, the 99.9 The Fan app, live stream on YouTube, the whole ordeal. But that's not all we have going on. The Canes also played last night. Wasn't exactly what you were looking for, and I believe that's where we're going to start when we jump into the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Canes lost to the Blues 3-0. The second straight night, because they played back-to-back, right? Detroit the night before. They fell behind 3-0. Now, against Detroit, they salvaged it with a comeback. They forced overtime, salvaged a point, and then lost on a sketchy call. There was no storming from behind, no pun intended. There was no comeback for the Canes last night. It's the first time they've been shut out this season 3-0. Now, yesterday I did say going into the game that I kind of liked the test they were going to face because it was such an emotional, overtime, late-night, cross-the-country game against Detroit. Then they had to hop on the plane. They had to get themselves better, do any recovery, do any training, rest as much as they could, and go right back into a game on the road in St. Louis. And those are the types of emotional push and pull and pretzels that you can put yourself in that might simulate a little bit of how the biggest games at the end of the year will treat you, right? You'll be super emotionally drained. Maybe there's a bad call that you can't get out of your head. There's a tough loss that you feel like you let slip through your hands, and you got to go play a game. Well, they failed that test last night. There's no real way around it. There was line shuffling. There was everything they could possibly do to try to get a spark, and the spark just didn't occur. That's not to say they didn't attempt to, they rang the post, as we've seen a billion times. Individual efforts on individual plays were there, but as a team, they failed that test. And, well, they're going to have to fix that in the future. You can't have duds like that, especially in with the entire situation I described, right? Especially with, why did the dud occur? Could have possibly been because they were mentally and emotionally exhausted from the previous game. All I know is, right, that's a could possibly. That's a perhaps. What I know is it was pretty noticeable, right? What I know is all of us watching knew, and that includes the guy who was watching with maybe the best seat in the house, Rod Brindamore, the head coach. He said he could see it from the very beginning.
You get to see how we return pucks a little where it's not how we play, and they capitalized. They played a good team game and structured how they're supposed to, and we're trying to do other things, and it never works.
Never works. I will say this, though. Would be nice if the Canes could catch an away game where they're not honoring some franchise legend before the game and the other team just is gangbusters trying to honor whatever jersey they're putting in the rafters or whoever everybody's celebrating before the game. After Fedorov night, I was like, all right, well, at least it won't happen again. I tune in on yesterday, and again, they're walking carpets out and doing big celebrations. I'm like, goodness, they're going to have to match the energy twice, and definitely didn't do it the second time. Also, and we're going to discuss this later in the show, maybe some of that new car smell wearing off of Brandon Bussey a little bit, new bus smell, if we want to really lean into it. I don't think there's anything horrendous. It's just, good shots go in occasionally. And we'll discuss it. But, Brandon Bussey was not going to be the best goalie in the league every single game forever. Want that to be known. 3-0. Doesn't matter if you only gave up one goal. You weren't going to win. There wasn't the run support, if you know what I mean. That's number one. How about number two?
Number two.
Got some ACC after dark.
Yeah, no, ACC late night.
UNC is the early game against Stanford at Stanford tonight at 9 p.m. This is what everybody told us is the reason they brought in Stanford and Cal, right? They could own more time blocks, time slots. That's the word I'm looking for. Right? 9 o'clock p.m. tonight, Wednesday, January 14th, the big game in town, UNC at Stanford. If I'm quite frankly awake and lucid enough to pay attention to this one, and I will do my best, I hope they get back to playing through Caleb Wilson. I mean, that was the standout from their last game is that Caleb Wilson, whether it's through his own kind of assertiveness or through the team not playing through him, he was able to go quiet for large stretches. At the beginning of the year when UNC was opening eyes and everybody was going, all right, they're back. This looks different than it has the past couple disappointing years. All right, here it is. They were not only playing through Caleb Wilson, but they were almost taking on the image of Caleb Wilson. His energy, his emotion, his entire vibe is what the team was playing off of. They've gotten away from that just a little bit. Not to say they aren't still very good. Not to say their front court isn't still awesome. I want them to get back to playing through Caleb Wilson. And then for a more basketball point to make, they got to stop the three. Since getting into the ACC and their conference schedule, they've been much less effective at defending the long ball, giving up a significant amount of more, quite frankly, just production points, makes, double-digit makes out there at the three-point line. So if your perimeter guys aren't going to contribute a ton offensively, there are still ways to impact the game, such as being excellent perimeter defenders and making it tough for the other team to shoot from distance. That is number 2. How about number 3?
Number 3.
Now we're getting to ACC after dark. This is darn near ACC tomorrow morning. Duke at Cal tonight, 11 p.m. expected tip-off.
Set the DVR if you have to, folks. It's
Oh.
okay. It's okay.
Take a nap from like 7 to 9 maybe, and then wake up and you can catch 2 games, a little doubleheader. Duke at Cal. Duke's run, and I don't even know if it's a run because they've been on it pretty much all year, but can Isaiah Evans stay hot? 20 or more points. He had a 28-point night, 20 or more points in each of the last 3, and it was really right after, at least here on this show, we asked, will they have a consistent second scorer? You know what Cameron Boozer brings to the table. He is strong. He is powerful. He is polished. He is a little bit of a throwback, although he can shoot the 3 as far as a big guy goes. But he is the type of player that benefits from spacing around him, right? You need to have shooters. And Isaiah Evans, who we know can go flamethrower, right? We know can catch fire, and then all of a sudden he's doing the 3 signal over his face as he jogs back down on defense and the crowd's going wild. Consistency was the thing you were looking for, and that's what kept him from kind of being the assumed consistent second scorer. Well, over the last, week or so, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he's been significantly more consistent. If he can keep that up, that'll be huge for raising the ceiling on how far Duke can go. And then, it's also just really fun to watch him because when he catches fire, it's electric. As far as Cal goes, I was trying to think of the way to describe this. They could not be more lower middle class in the ACC. They are like unbelievably 11th best team in an 18-team league, if that makes any sense. They're 12th in the standings right now. 11th offensively, meaning 11th in the conference in points scored, 10th in points allowed. Like, you could go further and further into the stats, and all you do is get more and more and more confirmed that they are the 10th to 12th best team in the league. Like, you know exactly what they are, which means they are top 75 team in the country, right? Because everyone except for the real bottom feeders in the ACC is top 74 in net and doing some good things. So they're good enough that they'll catch you, but they're probably not good enough that you have them circled on the calendar at any point in time unless you have friends in the Bay Area. So this game, late night, there's the test. It's can you bring your own electricity in a suitcase, right? You're probably not going to have friends and family in the stands. You're probably not going into this one as any kind of a rivalry. You're probably not going into this one knowing it could be a resume builder, but you still got to bring your juice. Still got to bring your energy. Cal on the road, 11 p.m. The other thing for both UNC and Duke, I was listening to I think it was a Malcolm Gladwell podcast, one of those like, hey, we think different podcasts. And one of the things they pointed out was it was an NFL betting line, or betting statistic, but you'll get the logic. If you just bet on West Coast teams against East Coast teams in night games, regardless of what, if you thought this team was better or worse, regardless of who's injured, if you just bet West Coast teams against East Coast teams at night, whether the game was on East Coast or West Coast, it didn't matter. You won like 68% of the time.
Interesting.
And the reason being, again, this Think Differently podcast was basically humans peak between 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 7 o'clock at night. And the further you get away from that, the worse you're going to perform. And obviously, if it's a night game, regardless of where it is, the West Coast teams, their natural bodies are going to be closer to 3 to 7. So Duke and UNC are both fighting against that, with Stanford and Cal being as west as you could possibly get. That's the big 3 at 3. Dan Morgan expected to join the show at 4. We're going to hear some of what Dan Morgan said earlier in the week, so we don't have to ask him to repeat himself about the quarterback. But before we get to any of that, Dennis has something he'd like to tell you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I know a lot of people heard me talk about this for a few weeks now, that I've been with the program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center and lost over 40 pounds. And that's one of the things about the Raleigh Weight Loss Center program is that not only have I lost the weight, I've maintained the weight that I've lost as well. That's the whole point of the program. It's to not just to get down to that number, that magical number you want to lose weight to, but it's maintaining it. It's sustaining it. So many of these diets you see up and down, up and down, up and down. And there's probably some people out there listening to this that probably started one of those fad diets as their New Year's resolution. I'm telling you, contact Raleigh Weight Loss Center, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone consultation. You got questions, you got concerns, bring any health issues to the table. That way you can move forward with the program with confidence. No shots or injections, no steroids, no side effects, none of the nasty stuff, just your body resetting its metabolism. That way it can do the natural thing. 919-897-7506 or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up that free 15-minute phone consultation. Results may vary.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will be back with Dan Morgan's audio from his press conference yesterday, all about Bryce Young and what it means about the future for the young quarterback. Stick around.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Young out of the shotgun, takes the snap, steps up in the pocket. He's got room to run. Bryce will take off. He's got the 10. He's got the 5. Dives toward the end zone. Touchdown, Bryce Young. 17-13. These Cardiac Cats are right back in the game.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As I said to start the show, we are expecting to be joined live by Dan Morgan, general manager of the Panthers, at 4 o'clock. Yesterday, he had a press conference, kind of more of a state of the program address to the entire media, and I wanted to make sure we covered all the bases of what he said there as a precursor to make sure that we don't make him repeat himself here. And along those lines, something that everybody wants to know is, what's up with Bryce? What's the plan for Bryce? Bryce Young this, Bryce Young that. Well, what we know is they picked up, or are planning on officially picking up, his 5th-year option, which will be about, depending on where the cap goes, about $27 million, not this upcoming year, the next year. And then they'll have more decisions to make. Dan Morgan was obviously asked about the 5th-year option on Bryce Young, and this is what he had to say.
We're going to pick up his 5th-year option. I think Bryce has shown, flashes of greatness this year against high-level competition. I think just as a team, we weren't as consistent as we wanted to be on a game-to-game basis. But I think that's part of what happens when you have a young team. You have a young team that's building continuity and, kind of figuring themselves out. So I think Bryce did a great job this year and just really excited about moving forward and him still developing chemistry with our receivers. And just the pieces around him that we had. What did you say?
All of that is true. All of that is standard. Young quarterback, young offense, growing pains, inconsistency. Here's what picking up the 5th-year option does to me, or does in my eyes. You start to transition out of that. right? Because right now you're making, less than $10 million a year. Your cap hit is once you get into the 20-something millions, the upper 20 millions, and then beyond, however aggressive that goes, you lose those excuses. Quick little personal story, because this is what's going on in my life. My son, who's 4.5, almost 5 years old now, he learned, I don't know where he picked it up, kids are still learning. So when he does something wrong, right, that he knows is wrong, he'll look at you and he'll go, I'm a kid. Kids are still learning. And I'm like, I get it. It's a good point. You knew exactly what you were doing. You don't have to learn that that's wrong. At some point, and maybe it's coming up soon for him, because he does it with a little smirk on his face, like, I can do anything as long as I tell you I'm a kid and I'm still learning. At some point, you transition out of that, and you know what's right and wrong, and you know you can't do that, you can do this. That's kind of where I'm at with Bryce, right? Rookie quarterbacks are still learning 100%. Second-year quarterbacks in shaky coaching decision moves, they're still learning 100%. Got you. Third year, young quarterback, still, it's like, wait a second, hold on now. At some point, you got to transition out of that, right? You can't be, pretty soon he's going to be 30 years old, he's going to be in year 8, and everyone's going to be going like, he's a young quarterback, he's still learning. When you pick up a fifth-year option, it's like, all right, there's the transition, right? The bigger money's coming. Now you're going to have to start not using the young guy excuse. Dan Morgan was asked what he liked from Bryce this year. This less about the fifth-year option and more about what he saw on the field this season.
If you look at Bryce on a day-to-day basis out there, his work ethic out there, his ability to command the huddle out there, take control of the line of scrimmage, make the proper checks, make the proper protection calls, and then really having that translate into Sunday or Saturday or whenever we play. I just felt like he had a lot more command out there this year, and really just kind of like coming into his own and getting better every week, and just attacking every day. And that's really all you can ask for, just from any player, let alone your quarterback.
There's a lot of stuff we can't confirm nor deny because we're not in those meeting rooms, right? The things that we can judge accurately from a distance, production, accuracy on throws, those types of things. But how he's managing the offense, what checks he's making, is he getting everybody into the right play call? Is he getting all of the protections accurate? How much autonomy does he have at the line of scrimmage to come in and out of bad plays and turn them into good plays? We don't know that. So if they're saying he's doing all of that right, that's huge, because that is part of what was described as his superpower coming into the draft, right? He has the unbelievable recall. He knows the game so well. His instincts are so incredible. If he's getting all that done, that is a huge feather in the cap of his evaluation. That is something to be proud of. And finally, from Dan Morgan, are there talks on an extension for Bryce? They just picked up the fifth-year option, and already it's like, good, what's next? Is Bryce and are Bryce and the team talking about an extension?
I think that's something that Brant and I are still talking about. We're still talking through the roster and just kind of like where things look from the big picture view. So yeah, that's stuff that's still up in the air that we're still working through at this point.
What picking up the fifth-year option does is it makes that not urgent, and traditionally deadlines get deals done.
It buys you time.
What you might want to do, and the hard part, I don't even say the hard part, the part of negotiating with somebody like Bryce Young, and really any quarterback that you still have years of control, is you want to thread the needle between insulting the player and like maybe we can get a discount if we do it early, right? Or there's a number we're comfortable at, and if it's not even close, do we even offer it? There probably is a number, and I saw some people suggesting that maybe they could have turned down the fifth-year option but offered some lower average annual value for 2 years on an extension that would have been guaranteed, or more of it guaranteed, similar to what the Packers did with Jordan Love a couple years ago. I'm not sure if that's the right move. I tend to believe the fifth-year option is there for a reason. It makes it so you don't have to enter into a negotiation back and forth, which is where feelings traditionally get hurt. You can show full confidence and also bide your time. Right? We picked up the fifth-year option, hugely invested, want to continue to build around him. And also we want to see all of next year before we consider giving, franchise-altering money to the player, which is, I think, the smart way to go. There is a world, and I'm, especially after the playoff game, I'm in on picking up the fifth-year option and then, playing it out and seeing where the improvements come. There is a world where if you just looked at Bryce and wanted to simplify it, you could just say his first year, complete wash, like complete nothing, like not good, not bad. You could say Frank Reich and Thomas Brown going back and forth, that offensive line. If you look at what the wide receivers were at that time and where they've gone and what they've done next, was not pretty.
Mm-mm.
You could say that situation just made it impossible for him to have success of any kind. And if you just write that off, then guess what? Going into this year would be like this next year, going into the 2026 season would be his third year. And after a third year is usually when teams have to make long-term decisions, right? That's when fifth-year options, aka what just happened, become a thing and long-term extensions become a thing. So maybe he's kind of on path, or he's on track, on schedule for when we should feel more comfortable about what we know about Bryce. It's just it started a year late because it was such a dumpster bleep fire or whatever you want to call it in year one. And by the way, while Dan Morgan was around, he was not the head man in charge. He was not the general manager. He was on staff, but was not the main guy that first year. And Dave Canales was in Tampa. So, maybe it makes sense to just start all evaluations starting year two. Maybe. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I do want to remind everybody, we will be talking live with Dan Morgan in a little over a half hour, about 4 o'clock today, and we look forward to doing that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Now, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. We talk a lot about job stability on this show, whether it's coaches, players, anybody, right? Job stability maybe is the difference between, hey, I feel good buying a house right now and getting the mortgage and growing roots, or maybe I should keep renting. And once you decide to buy, the next call should be to Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. And the reason why I talk about job security when it comes to buying a house is there's so many things, so many different factors that go into when you want to buy. Other than, and although it is included, the market, right? If rates are high and you want to buy a house because, well, you just got the promotion, you just signed the contract, you have a little security, your family came by and then now you're growing roots, whatever it is, you don't want to have to wait because, rates might come down next year and I don't want to be caught. Miller Lending allows you to use all the factors like job, like family, relocation, whatever it is, to buy the house and also feel comfortable that if rates drop next year, you won't miss out because they offer a no-cost loan. And that just makes it so much less money out of your pocket when you're buying the house, so much less cash when you're refinancing. And it really allows you to feel comfortable knowing if rates drop in 6 months, I won't be left out. I won't be kicking myself for getting the mortgage when I did, which allows you to, take in all those other factors as priorities. So give them a call, ask about the no-cost loan, whether you are looking for a mortgage to buy a house or a refi, especially if your rate was locked into the peak of the market a couple years ago. Give them a call. They might be able to lower your monthly payment right now. The number, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. You can also visit them online, millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, the Dean's List and 2 minutes of gold. Stick around.
Hello, I'm John Heister for John Heister Chevrolet in Fuquay Varina. And people are asking us, how are you selling so many cars all of a sudden? Well, did you know that the Beltline has opened up the outer loop? We're only 28 minutes from Knightdale. We're only 19 minutes from Clayton and 15 minutes from Apex. We're now the most convenient Chevrolet dealership to reach in the Triangle. It's just one more reason to get off your keister and come to Heister.
Now at John Heaster Chevrolet, get up to $20,000 off a new 2025 Silverado 1500 RST. See dealer for details. Together, let's drive.
When sleep isn't working, everything feels harder. Your health, your patience, your focus, even your relationships. I'm Megan Giggling with Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Too often, people are told to wait months or even years just to talk to a sleep specialist. But untreated sleep problems don't wait. At Parkway, care begins within weeks with home sleep studies and fast, coordinated support so people can move forward instead of staying stuck. Better sleep changes everything.
Parkway Sleep, your fastest path to better sleep. Start today at parkwaysleep.com. Sound sleep, sound health.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's Renter's Insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I travel coast to coast covering hockey. But when I'm back home, I head to my home away from home, Buffalo Brothers, for the best wings on the planet. You can't beat their specials at all 5 of their Triangle locations. Every pro football game day, you can get Miller Lite Draft for $4.50 and Blue Moon Draft for $5.50. Pet-friendly patio too. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Wilson takes the snap, runs up the middle, charges, backward, goal line, touchdown. 3-yarder, Will Wilson, his 4th rush TD of the ballgame.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We do have the Dean's List coming up here in just a couple of minutes. But before we get to the Dean's List, last night the Carolina Hurricanes were shut out for the first time this season. Lost 3-0 on the road at St. Louis on the second half of a back-to-back. And for the ins and outs, the details of that one, we turn towards our very own Adam Gold, who gives us 2 minutes of gold.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 points that the Carolina Hurricanes were never going to get as they close out a 2-game road trip in St. Louis, and it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers, parkwaysleep.com. Sometimes it's all about the attitude, and last night, I'm just not sure Carolina had the right attitude to do what was necessary to beat the Blues.
Every day I have the blues.
Now the Blues, they can have numbers coming in. Teeing it up, Bjugstad, and he scores! Short-handed, and it's 1-0 St. Louis.
Every day I have the blues.
It's here out in front, they score, Dvorsky. The rookie has put St. Louis up 2-0.
When you see me worrying, baby, I hate to lose.
Opportunity here for Cutter. They score! Out in front, it's Jimmy Snuggerud. And the Blues have exploded here in this second period.
It really did come down to focus last night. The Hurricanes were not mentally prepared to do what was necessary to play the way they played in Detroit, to do it again in St. Louis. For whatever reason, it's a long season. Every team's going to have games like this. Brandon Bussey could not save them last night. I thought Bussey's first and third goals could have, maybe should have, both been stopped. If Brandon Bussey isn't going to save you, you're probably not going to win the game the way Carolina was playing. The truth is, they came back from 3 goals down in Detroit because they were playing well. Last night, no chance to come back the way they were playing, and it proved out. So, let's all get ready for Florida on Friday. Let's be a goldfish and forget what just happened in St. Louis. Plus, this was a great opportunity just to hear B.B. King, wasn't it? Parkway Sleep Health Center. Sound sleep, sound health, sound off for B.B. King. And 2 points that Carolina was never going to get.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Thank you very much to Adam Gold for 2 minutes of gold. We'll transition right now into one of our favorite segments, the Dean's List. Dean's List, where we honor those in the college sports world that deserve a little extra praise. Those that are directly or indirectly related to the college sports world that we care so much about here in the Triangle. First of all, this one is it baffles me a little bit. I have to put on the Dean's List the anonymous UNC baseball donor.
Okay.
I read this on there was like the release just this afternoon. An anonymous donor has made what UNC baseball calls a transformational $9 million gift to the Carolina Baseball Operating Endowment through the Rams Club. As part of the gift, the donor has challenged fans and supporters to match the generous investment and grow the endowment to $25 million. To date, $2.2 million has been pledged towards meeting the challenge. $9 million anonymously donated to the UNC Baseball Endowment, Operating Endowment, whatever they call it. First of all, how generous. Second of all, if I donate $9 million to any team, which I don't foresee happening because, quite frankly, that's a lot of money that I don't have. But if I donate $9 million to any team, I'm putting my name on it. I want a spot on the bus to away games if I want. I want to walk into that stadium and have people. $9 million? I want players dedicating home runs to me after they hit them. $9 million. Obviously, they don't do it for the credit, but anonymously donating $9 million, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and usually you're spending because, endowments with, based on how much they make, you're spending around basically 4 to 5% of that endowment each year. So what, $9 million on their math, Tim?
No, I'm not going anywhere near it.
That puts you, 1% of $9 million is $90,000. So, times that by 5, you're looking at $450,000 a year.
And they're trying to get up to $25 million, which would be even more to spend. Baseball, it's a little bit, I don't want to say cheap, but it's, you're not paying a quarterback $6.5 million like some other, top football programs are. That could go a long way for UNC baseball. $9 million. Back to the Dean's List. I'm putting UVA basketball coach Ryan Odom on the Dean's List.
Okay.
Last night, UVA, Louisville, it was the kind of premier ACC game. They beat Louisville 79-70, so they're 16th in the country and rising. But really, the reason why I'm putting UVA basketball coach Ryan Odom on there is UVA's averaging 85 points a game. They're 6th best scoring team in the ACC. It's no longer unwatchable. It's the Tony Bennett / his disciples' years of, trying to score 45 and win by 3. They're gone. Which, for somebody that watches a lot of ACC basketball, you used to dread those days where the teams you cover played UVA because you're just like, that's going to – I better have coffee. I better have, like knitting to do or something to keep me awake while I watch this game. I need to have something in my lap.
Have a nice book.
Yeah, something there to give me the adrenaline rush. So not only are they playing good basketball, which is good for the ACC, they're also watchable, which is good for my entertainment factor. Do you have some Dean's Listers you'd like to throw out here, Dennis?
I would like to throw one on there. ACC basketball legend Del Curry. Because Del Curry played at Virginia Tech, so he's an ACC basketball legend. His number's being retired by the Charlotte Hornets. Del Curry.
Number 30.
Yes.
It's a really good couple of weeks for Curry's number 30 in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Because Steph just had the exit on the highway renamed after him.
Yeah.
Exit 30 is now Exit Steph Curry, I guess. From his time at Davidson. Now his dad's getting his number 30s retired for the Hornets. Good time for the Currys in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, ACC legend Del Curry.
Such an ACC legend that he couldn't get his alma mater to take his sons, Steph and Seth Curry, even though 2020 hindsight, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say it worked out for both those guys.
Couldn't get him at Virginia Tech. I covered Virginia Tech for a while. Fans are still mad. Apparently he made the call, to the coach, hey, they're legit. I wouldn't do it. I care about this program. And they went, yeah, maybe a walk-on. Went to Davidson. You know how the rest turned out.
Whoops.
More Dean's List here. I'm putting 2023 college linebackers in the triangle. All right. Peyton Wilson, NC State. Cedric Gray, UNC. They were both mid-round picks, third and fourth round pick in the 2024 draft. But they were obviously two of the better players in the triangle for a handful of years. Peyton Wilson, if you watched the Monday night playoff game, absolutely lit up Woody Marks on a little dump-out pass from C.J. Stroud. And on the season, tallied 126 tackles for the Steelers. That is the sixth most in franchise history. They've had some good linebackers on the Steelers.
Yeah, heard of a few of them.
Also, he did that without starting most games. Like when you look at snap counts and everything, not nearly as many as a lot of the other leading tacklers. Cedric Gray did start, played a bunch, but had 164 tackles for the Titans, fourth most in the league. Ready for this number that'll really blow your mind? 97 solo tackles, second most in the league. Almost 100 solo tackles in the NFL is bananas. We may not have realized it, even though we did, and we talked about them both all the time. We were watching two of the best linebackers in the country here in the triangle for those handful of years that ended in the 2023 season. Cedric Gray, Peyton Wilson, transferring that skill to the NFL and being exceptionally productive. They were both very difficult to replace also. Maybe that has something to do with why the defense is, it's like, why don't we just get another guy to play that position? Not that easy to just replace some unique guys like that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and dismiss the Dean's List. Because we have to break down that Canes loss last night. We have to dive into the who's, the what's, the whys. And we will do that just after we hear something from Dennis Cox right here.
That's right. Dennis Cox here from my good friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, it's back. It's back, and I tell you it's going to be better than ever because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky fan a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. That's right, a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. It could be yours. Just go to caniacsbike.com, folks. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. The bike is going to be given away live on the ice on April 4th at the game, and it includes tickets in a catered suite. That's also part of the deal as well. If you win, but you got to enter to win. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. I know I can't win the bike. I've seen it. If you go to caniacsbike.com, you'll see pictures of it. Again, it's a custom Caniacs Ducati motorcycle. I can't win it. But if you do win, hit me up. Let me just take it for a test ride. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Let me take it for a test ride. But it can be 100% yours if you go to caniacsbike.com to enter. Your time to enter ends on March 29th, but don't wait till then. Go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will be back, and we're going to put a little bit of a spotlight on last night's Canes loss to St. Louis. Stick around.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $6.99. That's right, just $6.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
This is the sound of Lucy, staying on top of her spending. You see, even though she's buying a new pair of jeans, she knows that it fits within her monthly budget. Because Wells Fargo will send an alert if her balance drops below her set amount. Yep, nothing gets past Lucy, or Wells Fargo for that matter. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
I am here with Patrick Day of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I'm on your website. Gutter helmets right on the front of the website. Do you have a gutter helmet to fit my head? I have a small head.
We have a gutter helmet for every head, Adam. So anyhow, if you give us a call, we'll come out and take a look at your windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, and of course we can do the gutter helmet. We have financing programs that are really good. So we have like 12 months with 0 payments for 12 months. You don't have to pay anything. So if you're thinking about home improvements and you're thinking you're saving up for it, just come on and see us and we'll go ahead and get you set up and get your project done, and you can pay in 12 months from now.
I feel like you're speaking directly to me. If it's for the exterior of your home, there is no better place than the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online, aluminumcompany.com. Siding, roofing, windows, entry doors, storm doors, and the world-famous gutter helmets. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, 1-800-672-4348.
Yeah, we stunk on all that. I mean, that's part of it, not sticking to the plan and just kind of winging it at times. And obviously, the first one, Shorty, it's just a turnover. You just can't make that play, and they capitalized. They made a good play. To me, that's kind of what started the whole thing going the other way.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Canes lost last night 3-0. Really no sugarcoating a 3-0 loss. But before we really dive in, I do want to let everybody know a way you can win. Five Finger Death Punch is coming to Coastal Credit Union Music Park on October 14th for their 20th anniversary world tour with special guests Cody Jinks and Eva Under Fire. You can visit 999thefan.com or download our app, sign up, go to the Win Stuff tab. You can download our app to enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the show. So the two ways to enter, 999thefan.com or on our 999 The Fan app, which is available in the Google Play or App Store, depending on what type of phone you have. Tickets do go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Again, it's Five Finger Death Punch coming to Coastal Credit Union Music Park, October 14th, 20th Anniversary World Tour. There you go. Now looking at the Canes. 3-0. There is no sugarcoating it, okay? 3-0 stings. Getting shut out stings. They're better than that. You can go through it all, right? Hearing Jordan Stahl in the postgame say, once again, right, they were looking for an easy one or whatever the verb is that he talked about. It's never going to be easy. The NHL is actually having a really kind of interesting year. I don't know how unusual it is, but I've noticed it more. I think I saw that they're like 26 of the teams are above 500. Like an overwhelming amount of the time you go into a game, you're playing somebody who, if you're playing your C game, you don't have a chance, right? You got to give B+ or better, even if you're one of the good teams, to really feel good about how you're playing. And the Canes are one of the good teams, right? They are still at the top of the Metro. They're still second in the Eastern Conference. They are one of the good teams. They're getting healthier than they've been. But that guarantees you nothing. And nobody cares about your situation. Oh, were you in Detroit last night playing into the extra hours because of overtime, and did you get messed over with a bad call so your adrenaline was pumping till 2 a.m.? Is that what happened? Oh, okay, St. Louis will take it easy on you. No. St. Louis is going to show up. Their goalie's going to stop shots. Their attack's going to be going. They're not going to just, hit it right into the chest of Brandon Bussey because he's a cool story. No, they're trying to go bar down. And part of that means you just have to make plays, right? And I did watch and listen to the television broadcast, which I occasionally do during these TV games. I love listening to Mike Maniscalco, and I wasn't even thinking. I would have listened for Walt Ruff's debut as an analyst. But, every once in a while, all right, let's see if other people see it the way we see it. And during one of the intermission breaks, I think it was Tortorella was the one, kind of the analyst breaking it down. And he just at one point said, I would have liked to have seen Bussey make one more save. There was no real, analysis, right? There was no, hey, this one, a soft goal, or this one, he didn't see it, or, he was screened. It was just, I needed to see him make one more stop. And that's how I felt about a lot of the Canes. And it's probably unfair analysis on my part, but it's like I would have liked to have seen them make one of those high leverage chances they got, right? They just had to find the back of the net. I would have loved to have seen one of those turnovers get, broken up or just one more exceptional play. I'm not going to say Brandon Bussey needed to make a stop. I'm not saying that it would have been an easy stop, right? They were going glove side and up top and he wasn't really keeping up with it. I just would have liked to have seen him keep up with it. And that was really the entire game. And because of that, I do lean towards they were emotionally exhausted from the night before, the travel. You don't know if they had that one play in them. And you never know when that one play is going to be the one that changed it, right? Because there's also a temptation to go, you lost 3-0. One play wasn't going to fix it, right? One play makes it 2-0 or 3-1. Does it really change things? Well, yeah, in sports it does. And we have Rod Brindamore talking about kind of exactly what I said, right? Fighting through the back-to-back and finding a way.
This is part of being a pro, though. Like we've gone through this in other games, too, here this year, where we've had these stretches of 3 and 4 and travel and kind of had the same result. It's where you have to buckle down a little more and not look the other way. We were looking for, like he hit it right on the head. We're looking for a different way to do things, and this team is not able to do that.
And guess what? This year you have that big Olympic break in the middle of the season, so there are more back-to-backs, right? Okay, you lost both legs of a back-to-back. You lost at Detroit. You lost at St. Louis. You did get the 1 point for going to overtime against Detroit, so not all is lost. But guess what? You play again on Friday. Then what do you have to do? You have to travel and play on Saturday in a back-to-back, and these are teams you're very familiar with, right? You're hosting the Florida Panthers, then you're going on the road to the New Jersey Devils. Another back-to-back is your next challenge.
Every team's dealing with it. The compressed schedule this season, everyone's dealing with it.
It's part of life. So that's kind of why I'm like, nobody cares about your situation. You got to find a way. And some of the players, right? And Dennis, you can actually tell me if you're catching this as well, right? The fans that I talk to, there seems to be a slow growing kind of like what's going on with Chatfield and a slow growing for a few other players that we've kind of grown to be super duper stable and steady Eddie, maybe not up to their level. I think that just happens in a long season, right? I think
wait, what's up with Chatfield in what way? Is it like they don't think he's playing super well? Okay.
Yeah, they think he's allowing more plays and not being as super responsible as he has been in years past, which fine, right? There's some of that there. I don't think, I think nostalgia has hit he's made mistakes every year. Nobody's perfect.
I want to say, if I remember correctly, during training camp, he sat out some time during training camp. So I'm wondering if there's a lingering injury that he's still kind of hampering him a little bit. It's also maybe a byproduct of, seems like he's for much of the season has skated with a different defensive partner because of all the injuries on the back end, including one of his own.
I'm not, and I can't just go in and say like nobody cares about your situation and then go like, well, his situation explains it. But I think most of the Canes that are quote unquote struggling are players that I trust to get it back on track. Right? They're not newbies. They're veterans. They've been through this a bunch. They understand the grind of the season. I want to point out they're still top of the Metro, right? It does feel like a lot of things are kind of going bad, right?
Yeah, they are in first.
They're in first place in their division. They're in second in the East. They had a 4-game win streak that ended with this, or a 6-game point streak, I think, that ended last night. So there's no reason to panic. But like every team, there are going to be adjustments they need to make down the stretch. There are going to be lineup shuffles. I believe there's going to be moves either at the first quote-unquote trade deadline before the roster freeze for the Olympics, or before the actual trade deadline, which is about 7 weeks away, something along those lines. I think this team's going to be tweaked with. And it's about pulling the right strings, pressing the right buttons. Eric Tolsky's going to have to do it, and Rod Brindamore's going to have to do it. Everyone on that coaching staff, the leadership, the veterans are going to have to do it. And that includes not just Jordan Stahl and not just the guys that have been around forever, the guys that wear a letter on their chest. This is a team that has an overwhelming amount of experience. They can all jump in and figure out what they need to fix and figure out what went into that 3-0 loss. This is kind of what I say about goalies all the time. Like, good goalies have bad games. Good goalies get scored on by good goal scorers, right? There's going to be those moments. The thing that I believe makes you a really, really good goalie is you don't let it stack, right? A bad night doesn't become a bad week. A bad week doesn't become a bad month, right? You find a way to stop stem the tide, stop it from happening. That's what I believe is the mark of a good goalie, and I think in a lot of ways that's the mark of a good team. Right? It's the old baseball adage, right? When you play 180 games, which for the math works out better, everybody's going to win 60, everybody's going to lose 60. It's what you do with the middle 60 that decides whether you're the best team in the league or the worst team in the league. There's some knowledge with that with hockey, right? Over an 80-plus game season, everybody's going to win, to 25, everybody's going to lose 25. It's what you do with that middle section that decides how good you are.
If you look at regulation and overtime losses, shootout losses, only one team had less than 30 losses last season, and that was Winnipeg.
So it's really about how you react to those losses and make sure that your 30 losses don't turn into 40 because you're still upset about the night before, and that's what bothered me about last night a little bit. I think the call against Gostisbehere in overtime, I think the emotions of Detroit played a role in losing at St. Louis, and that's what they can't let happen, right? If they play a super hard-fought, scrappy game against Florida at home on Friday, whether win or lose, I really don't want that to lead towards a less productive or a less than their potential performance at New Jersey on Saturday. That's what I think is the most concerning part. You lose a game. Like, a goalie can have a bad day, whatever, and I'm not going to throw any kind of alarms on there until it becomes, all right, I think you're letting it drag on. I think you're letting it linger. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and more specifically, the Fox & Bailey Watch Shop, the Omega Boutique, the Glashute Original display, the Blancpain display, which can all be found inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. And you're going to hear me talking about this a whole bunch because I absolutely love the event and I love the watches. Omega has been the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games since 1932, which means their technology is tested on the world's biggest stage with everybody watching. Then they refine it. They bring that same innovation directly into the watches that clients wear every day and that you can pick up from the Omega Boutique at Bailey's Fine Jewelry. If you walk in there, you could get the chronograph, a racing watch, something like a Speedmaster. You could go in and get something more dressy, whatever you're looking for. Dive watches, it's all there in the Omega Boutique at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and it's all Olympic quality. 2026 Winter Olympics are coming up pretty soon. It's all Olympic quality. I love the Olympics, and I love Omega watches, and you should too. Just make sure when you stop in Bailey's Fine Jewelry to check out the extensive portfolio of watches that they can offer you. Let them know that you heard about it right here from me, Tim, on 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, we're expecting Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. So if you want to hear the latest going into the offseason for the Panthers, you want to keep it tuned right here. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Hey, which way is your waiting room?
Oh, you can stay in your car. It only takes 10 minutes.
I can stay in? Get out. I better find a good playlist to listen to while I wait. EDM? Nah. Oh, what about something classical? Nah. You got any suggestions?
Dad rock?
Now you speaking my language.
Take 5. The stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
If you're watching football this weekend, you know how it goes. Somebody's always hungry by the first quarter. So call Pizza Hut and get the Big New Yorker for just $10. Our biggest pizza for the biggest games. These slices are huge, like use two hands and fold it huge. Feed your crew and order ahead at pizzahut.com or in the app.
Pizza Hut!
Ask for limited time offer. Prices, participation, and availability may vary. Additional charge for extra toppings, max 3 and extra cheese. Taxes, tip, and delivery fee not included.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Scattered light rain for us as we head through the afternoon with a high temperature in the mid-50s. Another chance closer to midnight, and then the precipitation ends and the temperatures fall to around freezing. For tomorrow, it is going to be a cold one. Windy, temperatures will be in the 40s through the afternoon.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones this afternoon down 57 points to 49,134.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're expecting to hear from Dan Morgan on the Heister Automotive Group hotline in the next few minutes here. While we wait for that connection to happen, I do want to encourage everybody to go ahead and follow us on or subscribe to us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Also download our 99.9 The Fan app. That gives you the ability to go back to interviews that we've had in the past, which, you know, when you something like talking to a GM at the beginning of the offseason, that's something that I like to revisit as we get closer to draft time or as big free agency moves are made, to see some of the logic behind why and who they value. So our YouTube obviously acts as an archive, 99.9 The Fan, as well as our 99.9 The Fan app, right, acts as an archive as well. So you can go back and find some of these interviews later on in the offseason when you want to reference. Draft time to me is a big go back and see what people said or go back and see how the season went style of time on the calendar. So 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Please subscribe and also, pass it along to your friends. 99.9 The Fan, the app, can be found on the Google Play or App Store, and pass that along to your friends as well. 5-star ratings are always appreciated. And now, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, as promised, is Dan Morgan, the general manager of the NFC South champion Carolina Panthers. Dan, first of all, thank you for taking the time. I know it's a busy time on your calendar right after the season. We'll start with kind of unexpected news coming out of the postseason, the unfortunate injury to Ike Ekwonu. How much does Ike's injury maybe change your plan, if you had a plan in place for this offseason?
Yeah, he's getting surgery. He's actually flying out. I think he flew out today to get surgery. Obviously, unfortunate news. Feel bad for him. He was having a good year. I think he was trending in a really good direction. Obviously, we have to, collect the details after the surgery and, just figure out where he is and take it week by week, month by month. And, obviously, from my seat, we're going to have a plan if he's not able to, be available for the season. We'll do our part on our side, and we'll scour, the free agent market, along with the NFL draft as well. So, yeah, we'll definitely have to address that if we feel like we need to.
From one injury to another, are you comfortable depending on Jonathan Brooks in the running back room coming off the 2 injuries that he suffered in the last 2 years?
Yeah, Jonathan's making a lot of progress. He's put a lot of work in. He's in there every day rehabbing. He's getting better every single day. He was actually out on the field, towards the end of the season, running some routes and looking good, hitting some good times on the GPS out there. So I'm really proud of him and the work he's put in. He's looking really good. And then having Chuba and having Trevor Etienne, we feel like we have a good stable of backs, but that doesn't mean that we won't be looking to upgrade there as well. So, and that goes for every position on our team. We're just going to look to add competition at every level.
We're talking with Dan Morgan, Panthers GM on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Flipping sides of the ball here for a second. From your perspective, on looking at roster management and everything, why was getting off the field on third down so tough for your defense this year?
Yeah, I think it was definitely frustrating, and I think at the end of the day, that's stuff that our defensive staff is really going to look into, and myself on the personnel side. It's a team effort, it's a group effort, and we'll get together and we'll figure that out, and we'll address those issues and look into those issues this offseason.
If you add to the edge rushers this offseason, does it make more sense to maybe go veteran, knowing that you have the young guys from last year's draft, Scorton and Unman Mielen, and maybe to get some diversity?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility to, look in free agency, see what's out there. And, there's also the potential to double dip as well. You can never have too many pass rushers to get, to your point, getting off the field on third down. I think that is part of it, is getting to the passer and affecting the passer. And we'll look for every avenue to upgrade on the edges and be able to get to the quarterback on a more consistent basis.
Looking at the roster, it appears off-ball linebacker might also be something you're interested in, which is really exciting for me because I want to see what Dan Morgan values in an off-ball linebacker. So is there a priority list or something you're looking specifically if you are adding that type of player in a draft or in free agency?
Yeah, I think at linebacker, obviously, each offseason we've tried to address our needs, and, with the salary cap and you only have so much draft capital, you can only do what you can do, one step at a time. So we'll definitely address, those needs at inside linebacker, outside linebacker, and some other spots that we may feel like we need to improve upon. And at linebacker, you want to find an instinctual guy, a guy that, has some size, has some length, and some range and play speed out there on the field that can really make some impact plays. So, I think we'll definitely be looking into that and identifying those guys that we think can help us.
We're talking with Dan Morgan, GM of the NFC South champion. I just like saying that, Carolina Panthers. I'm sure he likes hearing it. Now that it's public knowledge that you're picking up Bryce Young's fifth-year option, is there urgency to pay as many guys as you can for the period that you still have your quarterback on the super discounted rookie contract?
I don't know that we're really looking at it like that. Myself and Brant Tillis and Coach Canales, we still have to get together. It's still early after the season. So we'll get together and we'll talk about the roster and, we'll figure out, where and who we have to pay. And we'll get together that, long range outlook for the team and just see where we're at moving forward.
You brought up Brant Tillis. It was reported that he was interviewing with Atlanta for that president of football job. Did you give the offer, the Godfather offer? Were you calling up David Tepper? Like, what's your reaction when you see Brant Tillis interviewing with another team?
Yeah, obviously really happy for Brant and, love working with Brant every single day. I feel like me and him have a lot of chemistry together. We've developed a really good friendship in our short period of time together. Just my initial reaction was just, I don't want to lose, a friend and a really good workmate, but also at the same time really happy for him and the opportunity that he was able to get.
For the second straight year, I think you and Brant and your entire staff really found a gem in the undrafted free agent world. Jalen Coker obviously blossomed in the postseason, but I thought he showed signs last year. And also Corey Thornton on the defensive side of the ball this year. Can you take us through the process of how you discover those diamonds in the rough that so many other teams overlook?
I think it's really, obviously we have some really good scouts. We have some, really good process in terms of the way that we want to attack undrafted free agency. And, we're looking for traits. We're looking for guys that have had some production, whether it's a defensive back like Corey Thornton having some ball production, and then a guy like Jalen Coker, you could see those ball skills that he had, and he made some unbelievable plays in college, and frankly surprised both those guys didn't get drafted. So, yeah, we have a good process in place, and I would say to really sum it up, we're just looking for traits, and we're looking for some production on that side too. So, again, our scouts do a really good job, and we have a really good group that, collaborates and identifies those guys.
Obviously, Coker wasn't available at the beginning of the year, and that may contribute to this next question here. Did you think the offense lacked a home run threat where, you almost had to go 8 or 9 plays plus to score when sometimes it's nice to get that 60-yarder and shorten that drive a little bit?
Yeah, I think Jimmy Horn kind of gave us a little bit of that element towards the end of the season. I do think that's something that we are missing on the offense a little bit, is where we can just get the ball out to a guy and he can take a 5-yard catch and take it the distance, or make a few guys miss and come up with a big play. So, that's another spot that I think that we've identified and we'll be looking for in the future.
Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, connecting with us here on The Drive. Dan, if you had to pick one, what's the biggest need on this roster, right here on the precipice of a long offseason?
I don't know that I would just identify one. I feel like we need a lot. I feel like what we need is just more playmakers, more guys, whether on the defensive side of the ball, that can make impact plays and take the ball away. And then on the offensive side, guys that are touchdown makers, guys that can get the ball in the end zone, whether in the red zone, whether, like I said before, taking a short catch and taking it the distance. So we'll just be looking for playmakers and, and go attack it.
I'm not sure if you care about this sort of thing, but the voting for Rookie of the Years are going on now. Can you give us your campaign speech for your guy, McMillan?
I mean, me personally, I don't think it's close. I think T-Mac, what he's done as a rookie, staying healthy, being as productive as he was, demanding double coverage, safeties cheating over to him. He's everything we thought he was when we drafted him at 8. And I'm just, really proud of him and his work ethic and, the player and the person that he is. So I think it's a shoe-in, but, crazier things have happened, like, Derek Brown not making the Pro Bowl, which is something that I think is absolutely crazy when you watch the tape of him every week. So we'll see what happens.
Last one for you. We appreciate the time, as always, every time you can jump on the show. I don't know if we celebrate the front offices in the NFL enough. So, the Mike Jackson trade, some of the undrafted free agents we talked about, even T-Mac in the first. What move are you most proud of? If we're putting together the Dan Morgan front office combined, right, group effort, as you mentioned, but highlight reel, you always want your best play to start the highlight film. What play are you putting first?
I don't know that I can just single out one of them. I'm just obviously really proud of a lot of the guys that we've acquired. I have a really good team around me. I only think, as the GM, I think you're only as good as the people around you. And I just try to surround myself with a strong team and people that want to compete, people that want to win, and have a passion for the Panthers organization. So, I can't just identify one of those. I'm definitely proud of a lot of those guys.
Dan, we appreciate the time, like I said, as always, and good luck this offseason.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Once again, that's Dan Morgan, the general manager of the Carolina Panthers, joining us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. I agree with a lot of that. Dan has done a great job, and I'm not saying that just because he might still be sitting on the line listening. But I've said it when I know he's not been on the line listening. I think he's done a great job the last few years. Obviously, every GM's going to have their hits and misses. But if you look at the quality of roster now versus the quality of roster that he took over, night and day.
Oh, yeah.
Night and day.
It's insane, the roster turnover that he's been able to do or been part of. Just because you look at a couple years ago, look at the receiving core. You had Adam Thielen, which Adam Thielen obviously did a tremendous job. But
By the way, happy retirement, Adam Thielen.
Yeah,
Earlier today, that was made official.
Shout out Adam Thielen for that. But you had Jonathan Mingo, who they traded away last year and didn't do anything with Dallas. No, he was hurt and all that stuff. But Terrace Marshall Jr. didn't play for anybody. He was a practice squad guy. DJ Chark didn't play for anybody in 2025 as well. I mean, and then Adam Thielen didn't do anything in 2025 really with Minnesota or with Pittsburgh. I mean, so those four guys combined for probably 20 catches this season, something like that.
Yeah,
if that, and pretty much all that came from Adam Thielen. I mean, those were the top four receivers a year ago. Now you got McMillan and Jalen Coker and seeing what those guys are doing. Yeah, the fact that he turned the roster over what it is. I was hoping he would say the Mike Jackson trade was his favorite one because, let's be honest, you turned your 7th-round pick into a starting defensive back who had 5 interceptions this season and led the league in pass breakups. Yeah.
I mean,
it's a heck of a move.
The reason I wanted to kind of finish on that because I was hoping he would flex a little because there is stuff to flex. Like the Jalen Coker undrafted free agent. For everybody that wants to get super mad about Xavier Legette maybe not living up to expectations, Jalen Coker for free is making up that difference, right? If Xavier Legette had 140 or whatever it was yards in a postseason game, you'd go, wow, that's a first-round pick looking like a first-round pick. Well, an undrafted free agent costs you nothing, and it's kind of similar to like a lesser version of the Niners completely whiffing on Trey Lance and then drafting Brock Purdy in the 7th. It's like, yeah, they may have missed a little bit on Xavier Legette, but they fixed it with almost no cost with Jalen Coker. So they've had a few moves, and as always, thanks to Dan for jumping on the phone. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will get to a blind ranking, some Hurricanes and cons, and obviously more reaction to what we just heard from Dan Morgan. But first, Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. All right, something that is back, folks. I know I announced it earlier today, but if you didn't hear it, I want to say it again. The Carolina Hurricanes, the Law Tigers, they're teaming up once again to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes motorcycle. It is a Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage as well as Shiny Side Paint. They're teaming up together to give a lucky Caniac a motorcycle, a Ducati motorcycle. I can't ride this motorcycle, folks. I've seen pictures of it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. If you want to see what it looks like and enter to win, you got to go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com. Go to the website, enter to win. You have until March 29th to enter, but why wait? Just go ahead and do it now. caniacsbike.com. The winner will be announced on the ice April 4th, right there at the game. Also, by the way, the winner also gets a pair of tickets in a luxury suite, a catered suite at the game, April 4th. You want to be part of that? Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. Pretty simple, folks. caniacsbike.com. I know a lot of people like to show their fandom in a lot of different ways, but imagine rolling up to a game on a Canes Ducati motorcycle. That's yours. caniacsbike.com. I can't do that, but you can. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As promised, we do have a blind ranking coming up. But first, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Miller Lending wants to make sure that you have flexibility. Think about that. How crazy is it? Actually, let's just start with that. You could be getting something like a 30-year mortgage, which feels like the biggest, most rigid commitment you're going to make, and they're trying to give you some flexibility. And they do that with a no-cost loan. It gives you flexibility to take advantage of a volatile market, right? No-cost loan means those closing costs aren't there, the no hidden surcharges, no fees, none of that kind of stuff. And what it does is if rates go up tomorrow, beautiful. You locked in your rate today. If rates go down tomorrow, refinance. Again, no closing costs, none of those hidden surcharges, no fees. You just get the lower monthly payment. It is the way to take advantage of a volatile market, and some would say the only way. Miller Lending is the place to offer it to you, so give them a call. Locally owned, by the way. When you call, they're right there in Cary. 919-447-3377. Talk to somebody locally about your mortgage needs. 919-447-3377 or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We blind rank and name what we are most confident and most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes. Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Where do you go to get an offensive coordinator who's proven in that town, who's never going to get a head coaching job again? Frank Reich is your answer. Done and done. Make him the offensive coordinator for the next few years. There's your guy. He's not going to be a head coach in this league again, so there's a solution. Is it perfect? I don't know. We'll have to see what he does. Is it better than Kevin Petullo based on experience in Philadelphia and based on the fact that no one will hire him as a head coach? That's what they need.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Buying or selling a home is a big deal, literally. It's one of the largest financial transactions you're likely to make. So work with someone who will work with your best interest in mind. Someone who agrees to operate with transparency, honesty, and fairness every step of the way. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors and are bound by a strict code of ethics that requires they put your interests above their own. Because that's who we are. Make sure your agent is a Realtor.
The Wrap Up the Year sales event is on at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Right now, take advantage of over $11,000 off a new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee or a new 2025 Jeep Grand L. We've got 11 to choose from, but when they're gone, they're gone. So don't wait to get your $11,000 off. Jeep, go anywhere, do anything. See dealer for details. Get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington today.
As Cousins has a lot of time and throws for the end zone. That's a touchdown, Falcons. Drake London all alone sitting back there.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you missed it, we did just wrap up on the Heister Automotive Group hotline with our conversation with Dan Morgan, Panthers GM. If you'd like to catch that, it'll be up on our YouTube page in the near future, as well as on our 99.9 The Fan app. So, insight into what the Panthers plan on doing this offseason. Little bit of like, oh, I'm glad he confirms what we've been talking about on this show. Yesterday, and again, receipts, you can go look it up. We talked about how they need what I called kill shot ability, which would be the edge rushers that can get home and kind of end a 2-minute drill as quickly as it begins, and guys that can score touchdowns and turn 10, 12 play drives for the offense that are tedious and laborious into 3-play drives that are really fun. He kind of hinted at that same thing, different verbiage. But he talks about how he wanted touchdown scorers on offense, and he wanted playmakers that can get the quarterback and get the ball in their hands. They need those kind of splash plays. I think we're seeing the roster similarly, which I said is good to know. Right? I think they have a lot of the foundation kind of laid. Right? They have the offensive linemen. They have the run stoppers. They have the corners that can super lower passer rating against in Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn. Now they need some of the pizzazz, right? Like when you're, renovating a house, you want to make sure you have the kitchens, the bathrooms. You want to make sure everything's sturdy. And then once you get that done, it's like, all right, where am I going to put my theater room, right? Okay, where am I putting the golf simulator? I do think they're kind of to the fun part now. Not saying they still need some of the nuts and bolts, but I think you're going to see maybe a little bit more flash this offseason added, when in the past it's just been, trenches, linemen. The wide receivers are all about guys that can do a little bit of everything. Now you can go start getting your specialists. But again, check out that conversation. It'll be on our YouTube as well as our app in the near future. In the meantime, every Wednesday about this time, we take time out of the drive here on 99.9 The Fan to play a game of blind rankings. So let's jump in.
All right, Tim.
What's up?
In honor of the Carolina Panthers general manager, Dan Morgan, that we just spoke to, I'm going to let you put your GM hat on here, Tim.
Love it.
I want you to blind rank these potential free agent signings for the Carolina Panthers.
All right, and the hard part about this one, by the way, I love pretending like I'm a GM. One of my favorite things to do. The hard part about this is guessing the pool, right? I could really like a player. I don't know who you're considering potential, but that's part of the game. We're going to figure it out. So I'll play along.
All right, so these are all pending free agents. Now, obviously, things can change. There could be a franchise tag applied or an extension get signed, whatever it might be. But potential free agents for the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
We'll start off with wide receiver George Pickens.
Ooh. See, this is literally my concern right off the bat. I don't think he's leaving Dallas, and I think they might franchise tag him before he even gets the opportunity.
But just the player for Carolina.
As a X's and O's talent scheme, I think he'd be a great fit. He's a downhill threat. He's an downfield threat, an unbelievable ball skills guy, meaning, creative catches, body control, unbelievably talented. Here's the question. He brings a certain bit of drama, right? He is a maybe super over-the-top stereotypical diva wide receiver. At least that's what it appears like from the outside with both Pittsburgh and Dallas. The Panthers have obviously worked very, very hard to build their culture, right? And get the locker room where they want it as far as the people within it. And is it to the point now where you can absorb a George Pickens and you kind of rub off on him more than he rubs off on the team? I tend to believe you need a couple of those. If you put Tetero and McMillan on one side, George Pickens on the other, Jalen Coker in the slot, goodness gracious, Bryce Young better have a career year.
Yeah, for real.
So I'm putting George Pickens number 2.
All right, George Pickens number 2. All right, I like this.
He's wildly talented, unbelievably so.
All right, next one on this list. Edge rusher from the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Phillips.
Jalen Phillips, he again, a skill set guy. Position of need. I remember him more from his time in Miami than I do from what he did in Philly. I'll go because of the measurables. I believe he's like a combine warrior, and you have a lot of the attention he draws would help everybody else out. I'll put him 3. More for position and skill set than I haven't watched a ton of him with Philly this year, but talent, former first-round pick, all that.
He had 5 sacks this past season.
Disappointing. I might move him down if I knew that.
All right, but he had 5 sacks again with Philadelphia. Also, well, he actually split his time between Miami and Philadelphia because he was traded during the season. So he had 5 sacks total on the season.
Yeah, but
he does have 8.5, 7, 6.5 in his career as well.
Yeah, I probably would have put him 4 knowing that, but that's fine.
That's why it's a blind rank.
Are you going to let me? Can you let me move him?
No.
I haven't heard who's next.
You've already put him at 3.
Fine.
So you have George Pickens at 2, the wide receiver. You have Jalen Phillips number 3, which leaves you 1, 4, and 5.
It's pretty funny that I already don't like my list, and I've only heard 2 names.
Exactly, which means edge rusher Trey Hendrickson.
Interesting.
From the Cincinnati Bengals.
Interesting. I think the correct thing would have been to put Phillips at 4 and put Trey Hendrickson at 3. The issue I have with Trey Hendrickson is his age. He's 31 years old, and his birthday is December, so he just turned 31. He's not going anywhere unless you give him, a 4-year deal with 5 maybe, with 3 guaranteed, something like that?
Yeah, 3 and at least heavy guarantees.
And I just don't know if that lines up with the window the Panthers are trying to open. I'll put him number 4. Obviously super talented, but he was a super late breakout, right? It's not somebody that turns in 15 sacks every year. He's somebody that has had some exceptional years, including the year he led the NFL in sacks, but I'm not putting the whole kit and caboodle on his back.
All right, so I gave you first George Pickens, the wide receiver. You put him at 2. I gave you Jalen Phillips, the edge rusher. You put him at 3. I gave you Trey Hendrickson, the edge rusher. You put him at 4 in the blind rankings for potential free agents for the Carolina Panthers this offseason. And by say potential means they're just going to be an unrestricted free agent, or at least scheduled to be. Hence why the fun blind ranking here. So you have number 1 and number 5 available in your blind ranking. The next one on this list is running back Bryce Hall.
5. That actually, I'm super worried every time we get to a blind ranking and I only have 1 and 5 left. But running back has to be 5. I'm against spending money at the running back position, and they've already spent on Chuba Hubbard, and I think they can find. This is a super, super deep free agent running back class, and Breece Hall will probably be the most expensive of the bunch, and that just doesn't make sense to me, right? If it's a deep class, you shouldn't have to spend top shelf to go find one. I don't think it's as good of a rookie class as last year, but it's a super deep free agent class. So if you're going to spend, I think you could spend way less and get a player, maybe not as good as Breece or as explosive as Breece, but something that is significantly more of a value than Breece.
By the way, other notable free agent running backs this offseason, other than Breece Hall, you have Kenneth Walker III from Seattle, Travis Etienne from Jacksonville, Javonte Williams, former UNC running back from Dallas, obviously Rico Dowdle, J.K. Dobbins, Tyler Algier from Atlanta, Kenneth Gainwell from Pittsburgh, Rashad White, Najee Harris, Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson Jr.
There's a lot of guys.
There's a lot.
A lot of guys.
There's a lot of guys. All right, so the blind ranking list. I give you George Pickens. You put him at 2. I gave you Jalen Phillips. You put him at 3. I gave you edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. You put him at 4. I gave you running back Breece Hall. You put him at another 5, which means the number 1 spot on your blind ranking for potential free agent signings for the Carolina Panthers this offseason goes to safety Cameron Curl from the LA Rams.
It all depends on price. If you get the right price, I don't mind a little Cam Curl. I remember him from his time in Washington, which he turned some heads, kind of became a fan favorite there. I think safety, I think coverage, like a true coverage safety, is one of the needs. I don't think it's the number 1 need. But, it could be worse. Looking at the list, Cameron Curl's probably the cheapest of everybody that you sent my way. So, gives you more money to spend elsewhere. This one's not my best work. Probably should have been Pickens 1, Hendrickson 2, Phillips, Curl, Hall, and that's very much not how it came out. But the good news is I think it's an interesting free agent class. I think it's an interesting free agent class all around, which means, Dan Morgan, who we just had on the show, can really explore a bunch of different options, right? This is not a, hey, let's do this kind of year. It's a, hey, okay, if we spend a lot on edge rusher, can we fill safety and off-ball backer and maybe a wide receiver for cheaper? Or if we spend a lot on safety, can we find edge rushers a little bit cheaper? And you got to play out every different scenario because there are a lot of different names in the free agent class. Some would say it's a little bit down of a draft year, but I think it's really just down at certain positions. Dante Moore deciding to go back to Oregon super limits the quarterbacks in a draft. And without quarterbacks, every draft seems underwhelming, but Panthers aren't in the market for a quarterback in this year's draft anyway. So who cares that Dante Moore is out, other than maybe it drives someone else a little bit higher in the draft. But I think there's options.
Maybe a team that's desperate at quarterback wants to move up to pick 19. Hey, we need a quarterback. Ty Simpson from Alabama's floating around out there, and we talked ourselves into him, even though he might not be good at all. We talked ourselves into it. Now we got to move up in the draft to make a move. You never know.
I have watched some Ty Simpson. I'm still up in the air on who the number 2 quarterback is in this. Fernando Mendoza 1. If he declares, by the way, he hasn't yet, but he's still playing, so he has time. If Fernando Mendoza 1, number 2 is still up for grabs for me. I'm not convinced on any of them as of yet. If it is Simpson, then if somebody wants to trade up for him, you say, be my guest. You roll out the red carpet. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. This year's draft will be an interesting one because there aren't those super, obvious quarterbacks at the top that everybody's going to want.
I know we asked Dan Morgan this question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest need?
Edge rusher.
You think so?
Or pass rusher, right? Whether you want to call it a D-end or an outside linebacker, somebody to get after the quarterback is easily the number 1 thing. And that's no disrespect to Nick Scorton and Prince Iman. They might be that later in their career, but this year was obvious. If you look at the stats that are most concerning, pressure rate is up there, but also things like third down percentage. The defense gets off the field on third down, third worst in the NFL.
Yeah, they were 30th. Yeah.
And they're very, the longer the third down gets, the worse their ranking is. So like 3rd and 8+, they're even worse. They're moving towards dead last. What does that stem from? Not having a pass rush and or having to use pressures, meaning blitzes, to pressure the quarterback. And, quarterbacks are so good nowadays. They've been identifying blitzes in 7-on-7 since they were 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They oftentimes are going to be able to find the hole in your secondary if it's a true, like, everyone in the route package.
I think Panthers only blitz. I think it was 13th in the NFL. They're 13th fewest in the NFL in terms of pressure rate or blitz rate,
which is an Evero staple. Like if you look at year over year, he doesn't blitz very often.
No.
And if you're going to stay dedicated to a defensive coordinator that does not blitz, you better be able to get pressure with your front four. And the only way to do that, right, then you're not overpowering, right? You're not overloading. You're not getting 2 guys on 1 blocker because you're not bringing extras. The only way you do that is by having players that can win their matchups, just one-on-ones and beat double teams. And to do that, you need to have dudes. So edge rusher or finding a pass rush is by far my number one gotta have it thing. And, potentially it's a good draft for edge rusher. I'm seeing some that might actually, there might be a run on them in the top 10, which would hurt considering you're picking 19th. But if one of those studs falls, or if a couple other positions rise and push them down, that could be a nice spot.
Yeah, you didn't have the premier edge rusher to get to the quarterback, and then it's also let's play really soft off coverage and zone. That's not a recipe.
Let them get the ball out quick to hitches and things.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of the stats, particularly on defense, that are most concerning could be potentially solved with a true dominant edge rusher, which there's trickle down there, right? It's the same as what I always say about wide receiver, right? If you have a wide receiver 1 who's okay and you go get a true wide receiver 1, now that other guy who was okay against top corners and with safeties over the top and all the attention might be a very good wide receiver 2 when he doesn't have all that attention. Same is true for edge rushers, right? If you're getting chipped and you're getting double teamed because you're the best on the team, and then your team goes out and acquires a better edge rusher, now they're attracting those chips and double teams and the protection's always slid their way, you might become a great edge rusher as the number 2. So it does help everybody if you can make it happen. This is also one of those deals. It's very similar to what we talk about with the Canes and goalies. Like, people don't get rid of edge rushers very often. So it's not the easiest thing to go solve. But if you can do it, you can level up your defense quickly. With that being said, that's a blind ranking. Now it's time here on The Drive to jump to Hurricanes and Cons.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else.
That starts with a W.
Confidence.
What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes? That's Hurricanes and Cons. We do it every Wednesday here on the show. We'll start with, you always start with the bad news, right? I got good news and bad news. Which do you want? I'll take the bad news first. Concern. Dennis, why don't you go ahead and lead us off?
My concern, this is actually a bigger picture front office thing when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Interesting.
My concern is that because so many teams are vying for a playoff spot in the NHL, is that a lot of teams are going to be sitting pat thinking they're going to be buyers at the deadline. So it's going to be a seller's market, which is going to make things more difficult in terms of acquiring an extra piece that you might want for the playoff push. So I'm wondering what the market is going to look like with so many teams that are in contention for a playoff spot. Are teams going to be more likely to just stand pat or try to buy as opposed to sell off assets? I'm
going to put a huge qualifier on what I'm going to say next. Okay. This is a 50% researched take. I started doing this research, and then I got distracted by something, and I never finished. Of the contenders, I think the Canes might have kind of the most, if they wanted to go really splash the pot and big chip stacks. Not many of the contenders have like first-round picks to spare, or they all almost are already all in. So perhaps if it is a seller's market, the Canes can still win a bidding war. I'm not sure they would do that because they're such a value-focused front office where it's like, we don't care about the situation. We're not overpaying. But that is possible. And also, I want to acknowledge, I did say it's a 50% researched. There might be other contenders with more. I just didn't quite get to them in the research. Distraction's a heck of a thing. My concern, I'm going an oldie but a goodie, Dennis. This is one we've had for a while. And then it disappeared, and then maybe now it's back. Goalie. And I'm not even saying like, oh, Bussy can't be trusted. But if Bussy just comes back down to earth for a stretch, it becomes an issue. Can you trust Freddie? Obviously, Piotr's out. Good goalies don't grow on trees. You can't just go find another. So I like Bussy still. But goalie, I'd be lying to you if like my subconscious isn't a little bit more nervous now than it was even a week ago. So goalie, I'm just putting it out there. I don't like that it concerns me, but the heart wants what the heart wants, and the heart is scared of what the heart is scared of. I'm a little concerned there. Let's get to the more fun part of things. The confidence. Dennis, what are you most confident about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes?
My confidence, again, looking at the overall big picture, my confidence is the fact that this team doesn't go on super long stretches of bad play. Like, you might have 2 games, maybe a third, but it's not like they go on, at least generally, don't go on these like 8-9 game massive skids. They're usually able to bounce back relatively quickly. And I think after last night's loss, get a couple days before the next one. They don't play again until Friday. I think they'll reset themselves just fine.
Mine is similar. My confidence is their record. If you are what your record says you are, they're 28-15-4. They're top of the Metro by 5 points, second in the Eastern Conference. Like, I'm not ignoring some of the things that, might be concerning to those out there, which, by the way, if you have concerns or confidences, you need to pick one of each. Don't game the system by listing more than one. But if you have a confidence and a concern, you can send them to us on our YouTube live stream, 99.9 The Fan. Jump there in the comments and let us know. I'm not downplaying any of that, right? I do think there are some things that need to be fixed, some things that are going wrong, some things that are proving to be obstacles. But they are still productive, right? They are still 28-15-4. That just shows how high their floor is. Right? Like, things can go wrong and they're still pretty good. The way my cliche is, it's like pizza, right? Even when it's bad, it's still good. Like, good pizza, I'm gonna eat half a pizza. Bad pizza, give me 2 slices. Like, it's even when it's bad, it's still good. That's kind of what I look at with the Canes. Like, when they're not playing great, they're like, all right, just went on a 4-game win streak and now you're gonna only get 1 point on a back-to-back. When things are good, they're really good. So, their record still doesn't give you any reason to worry, even if certain things you're looking at may concern you a little. There you go. That is Hurricanes and Cons here on 99.9 The Fan. As I said, you can send us in your Hurricanes and Cons on our live stream, YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Search there. While you're there, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, continuously trying to grow that community. We still have, I'm not complaining because this is a first-class problem. My private jet takes too long to refuel, but we're really in the thick of college basketball season, and we're in the best place in the world to follow college basketball. And sometimes it's getting squeezed out by our playoff NFL team and our top of the division, the NHL team. But I refuse to go another segment without talking about the 2 big ACC games tonight, and we'll get to that right after I tell you all about Maynard Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, they do it all. It is probably already time to start thinking about maintenance when it comes to your cooling system, right? You may be saying, it's January. What are you talking about? I'm not using my cooling system. Exactly. Get a maintenance schedule, a service schedule lined up for your cooling system when you're not using it, right? So they can do all of the tests and all of the upgrades and all of the things that you may or may not need, all of the checks. And then, right now you're using your heating system. They can look at that while they're there as well. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. Try to stay ahead of it. Get on those maintenance schedules and pretty much eliminate your headaches later on. Maynard Service Company is the number to call, 919-361-0993. And maybe all of that was just wishful thinking from me, saying, like, it's going to be warm any day now. I'm more of a warm weather person. Again, the number, 919-361-0993, or visit them online at maynardservices.com, MAYNOR services.com. Be sure, by the way, to let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. 2 late-night ACC games, ACC men's basketball to follow tonight. We preview them next.
Do you have a smartphone? Of course you do. Do you have a pocket or pouch or human hand to hold your smartphone? Then you have no excuse. Download the 99.9 The Fan brand new app today and take us with you wherever you go. Your favorite hosts, podcasts, and live sports action all in one place. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Finally, there's an app for 99.9 The Fan. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today. Powered by Aspire Money Management.
Soundstation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know Soundstation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, Soundstation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Soundstation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $6.99. That's right, just $6.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
The best financial move you can make this time of year? How about lowering your mortgage rates to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rates in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by calling Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait, no hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Act now. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out all higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 919-381-1760 and see how much cash you can get today. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org. This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. College basketball tonight. Late night. The ACC after dark, whatever you want to call it. Late night ACC. UNC is visiting Stanford. They'll play at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Duke will play at Cal. Even later than that. They tip off at 11 p.m. 11. So have your caffeine ready, take your naps, set your alarms, or record it, wake up, and avoid scores until you can watch it. Whatever, if you're a true diehard like me, you'll find a way. That's what I'm saying. UNC at Stanford tonight at 9. We'll start there. UNC is a very talented team with a very obvious story. Okay, I often say, like, what's the story of this team? What's the challenge? What's the obstacle? I use Draft Day, the movie, as my cliche, the Kevin Costner movie. He's talking about evaluating quarterbacks. He's like, John Elway had no touch. He threw it too hard. In the end, it just didn't matter. Peyton Manning had a noodle arm, couldn't throw a spiral, but in the end, it just didn't matter. Find out what matters, or find out what's wrong with your prospect, and then tell me if it matters. I look at college teams that way, right? No college team, no college basketball team is perfect. So figure out what's wrong with them and figure out if it matters. Can they overcome it? Now, sometimes the teams that I think are best in a conference like the ACC or one of the top 10 teams in the country, you really got to comb through it, right? You got to really find what's could potentially trip them up. I don't think UNC is that way. UNC has an exceptionally championship-level front court and a back court that has to be good enough that the front court can do its thing. Right? I'm not asking them to be, any kind of legendary group of perimeter players. I'm asking them to, as coaches would say, be a star in their role enough that Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar can be the difference. ESPN just put out a mock draft earlier this week, NBA mock draft. Caleb Wilson is a top lottery pick, and Henry Vasar is now jumping into the first round. Those guys are good enough. They're 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, however, different players, but bring a lot to the table. Okay? The issue is if Luka Bogovat, if I think Trimble brings a certain level of defense to the table, but if Kyan Evans, if Dixon, if some of these players aren't scoring or doing enough to keep teams honest, it becomes more difficult for those quote-unquote, first-round bigs to allow themselves to be the difference, right? There's no doubt in my mind that there is a tremendous amount of logic behind point guards and quarterbacks being compared. And maybe the best way to describe that would be the big men become the wide receivers, right? You could have the best wide receiver in the world. If you don't have a quarterback that can get him the ball, you just have an open guy downfield and frustrated, right? You can have Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar as maybe the best big men group in the country. And if you don't have guards that are good enough to keep defenses honest and get them the ball in advantageous situations, you're just going to have first-round picks that are frustrated. And obviously this is, top-end problems. I don't think they'll have an issue beating Stanford tonight. But I think games like this one against Stanford are when you figure out how to get things going in the way. So when you play the Louisvilles, the SMUs, the Dukes, the Virginias, right, these teams at the top of the ACC, that's when you're really going to be tested. They also, again, along those lines, the perimeter players, you need to do a better job defending against the three. Since they've been in conference play, the three has been getting them. Hasn't been like a fatal flaw, but it's been getting them at a significantly higher rate than it did in the non-conference schedule. So I'll be watching that tonight, assuming I'm awake. And then later in the night, Duke's taking on Cal. That's an 11 p.m. opening tip. Assuming I'm not asleep on the couch for that one, here's what I'll be looking for. Isaiah Evans, can he stay hot? Right now, the last 3 games, he is on fire, right? He's 28, 23, 21 points, something along those lines. He doesn't have to be a 20, 30 point per game player. He doesn't. It'd be nice, right? Duke would appreciate that, but he doesn't have to be that. I do think he has to be almost every game a 40% three-point shooter, right? When he's on fire, he's going to shoot 58% or whatever, but he should be able to get open enough, knock down enough jumpers to be 40% from three most nights, if not darn near all of them. And if he does that, then Cameron Boozer becomes more effective. Then you can play a little bit of two-man game. Then it becomes easier for everybody. Caden Boozer has done a good job stepping in and playing a bigger role and being kind of that floor general. And every floor general needs a kick out. You know what I mean? If you're running pick and roll, you need somebody in the corner ready to knock it down, somebody on the wing ready to knock it down. And I think they have guys who could potentially do that in Dame Sarr and Nick Himania, but they need someone who's actively doing that, and Isaiah Evans has been that. And then, Cameron Boozer is going to be his Cameron Boozer self. It's crazy how quickly he's made 20-10 ho-hum. If it's not 23-12, people don't even get excited. If it's just 19-11, it's like, off day.
Wow. I wish my guys had off days like that. Do they rely on Cam Boozer too much?
No.
You don't think so?
He's not taking an absurd amount of shots.
No, that's not that's not what I'm asking. Is that if he does have a bad day, can this team still win?
Well, here's the trick answer I'm going to give you. It's not going to be like a straight up answer. The way he plays, I don't think there will be like a true clunker, right? Shooters go into shooting slumps. He's like a million pump fakes and footwork down low, go to the free throw line. It's much more difficult for that to slump.
But if he's 18-8, which is a quote unquote down day for him, but still, but if he goes 18-8, can this team win?
I think that comes down to Isaiah Evans or whoever the next number 2 scorer is. They can win, obviously, but they would need somebody else to step up and score more and be more of a magnet, which is why I think it's so important with every game that Evans strings together where he is a super effective scorer. It becomes more plausible that they can weather against a very good team a Cam Boozer quote-unquote down game. If Caden Boozer scores more, if Dame Sarr, by the way, defensively, he's one of those guys who's like, he could sit in the middle of a school bus, and if he sticks his arms out at his side, both his elbows will be outside the window. Like, his wingspan is bananas. Defensively, he's great. If he gave you 10 points a night offensively, that would go a long way towards, letting him be out there playing in more situations. The story, right? I said, find out what their flaw is and find out if it matters. Right now, I think the flaw for Duke is a consistent second scorer. If Isaiah Evans answers that question, we'll find the next flaw. Trust me, they won't be perfect, but that's the question for me, and it's kind of the answer to your question, or not even the answer, the mystery behind your question. If Cam Boozer has an off night, is there a guy who way more often than not will be able to shoulder that burden of picking up the scoring? Recently, it's looked like Evans. Last year, Evans showed flashes of it, but there's a huge difference being on a Duke team with Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, even guys like Tyrese Proctor, where it's like, if I'm scoring, that's great, right? Then they're going to feed me the ball. It's a complete other to be the second option, where it's like, if Cam Boozer isn't scoring, I have to, right? Last year, if Cooper Flagg wasn't scoring, Con Knipple would. If they both weren't scoring, Tyrese Proctor could get hot. There were so many other checkpoints before you got to, let's see if Isaiah Evans has it. This year, it might be, if Cam Boozer isn't scoring, Isaiah Evans better, and that is a lot more pressure on a player. But he's talented. There's some percentage chance that's well above 0 that he answers that question affirmatively. We just want to continue seeing it. They play tonight at 11 p.m. So maybe we'll read about it in the morning rather than see it. We'll catch the highlights. I'm going to try to stay up, but we'll see if it happens.
I have a 10:45 hockey game tonight, so
you'll
I'll
be
be
up
awake.
anyway.
I'll go to the locker room all right, second half, let's watch it.
This will be one
I'll
of the
be
nights.
Awake.
My 11-month-old daughter is teething right now. Teeth are popping through. So she'll have nights where she's like, hey, we're going to be up at 2 a.m., just so you know. I'll never be more happy if she wakes me up at or if she's awake at midnight. I'll be like, I'm already up. I beat you to it. Come on down here. We'll watch the game. It'll be a nice bonding moment. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5. Maybe, me and you can bond over the starting 5. But before we get there, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick from my good friends over at Law Tigers. Something that I'm looking forward to is obviously when the spring weather rolls around, I can actually get the motorcycle out of storage, hit the open roads. I've actually been kind of upset that my motorcycle's been in storage during some of these warm days we've had over the winter. But nonetheless, I'm excited to get back out there on the road. I know a lot of people are excited that are motorcycle riders want to get back out on the road with the nice weather the way it has been. And imagine you as a motorcycle rider pulling up on a custom Caniacs motorcycle, because that is something that actually can happen. Because once again, The Law Tigers, your Carolina Hurricanes, are teaming up to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Go to caniacsbike.com. That's where you enter to win the bike. Again, caniacsbike.com. It's a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle that you can win. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. You have till March 29th, but why wait? Go ahead and do it right now. caniacsbike.com. The bike will be given away live on April 4th at the game and includes tickets in a catered suite. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, as promised. The starting five next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Where do you go to get an offensive coordinator who's proven in that town, who's never going to get a head coaching job again? Frank Reich is your answer. Done and done. Make him the offensive coordinator for the next few years. There's your guy. He's not going to be a head coach in this league again, so there's a solution. Is it perfect? I don't know. We'll have to see what he does. Is it better than Kevin Patullo based on experience in Philadelphia and based on the fact that no one will hire him as a head coach? That's what they need.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
What's this?
We're expanding the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club.
That's a pretty big wrecking ball.
Well, with all these new scratch-offs, this place is going to be packed with new winners. Okay, let's go ahead and knock this wall down. This is where we're putting the polo field. Whoa, patience, Trixie.
This month's tickets are loaded with $90 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.35 to 4.68. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
At Smith Douglas Homes, we're proud to support our hometown heroes, teachers, healthcare workers, firefighters, and military. As a thank you, receive a $2,500 credit towards your new home purchase. Explore SmithDouglas.com. Smith Douglas, where it's your home, your choice, within reach.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Thanks. Got my seat cushion, crossword puzzle, and oh, can't forget the hand sanitizer. Okay, show me the waiting room.
No need for all that. You can stay in your car.
I'll stay in my car? Get out.
Yep, you stay in. It'll just be 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out.
Go ahead, sit back and relax.
Well, I guess I'll save all this for the DMV. If only they took 10 minutes, am I right? I'm sorry.
Take 5. The stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. Skies stay cloudy tonight with only a slim chance of a sprinkle. 30 degrees the low. And Thursday, we don't warm up much. By the afternoon, temperatures only reach the 30s. It's mostly sunny and blustery. Thursday night, the low drops to 18 degrees.
Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 42 points today to 49,149. This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you contact your insurance company at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. One quick reminder, YouTube 99.9 The Fan. Go subscribe or check out our app, 99.9 The Fan. A lot of our YouTube clips live there as well. Download it, Google Play or App Store. We talked with Dan Morgan, GM of the Panthers, earlier today. If you missed it, you're going to want to go check it out. Insight into what the Panthers are going to be doing this offseason. Is he comfortable, depending on Jonathan Brooks as a running back, off of 2 major knee injuries? How much does Ike Ekwonu's injury change their offseason? just a couple of the many things that we talked about with Dan Morgan, and you can find that all. That Dennis is pointing at me. He must have something to say.
We'll also have it at 6 o'clock. In case you're still driving in the car, moving around, we'll also have it again for you at 6 p.m. tonight.
Perfect. So, YouTube, app, 6 o'clock here on 99.9. There's no excuse for you not to be as up-to-date as possible on the Panthers offseason. With that being said, let's jump into the starting five, and as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So the transfer portal is in full effect, right? Guys are jumping in, guys are jumping out. Matter of fact, tomorrow, I didn't even know they were in a dead period. Tomorrow, they can start having visits again in the transfer portal. There was some kind of a dead period where you couldn't host them on campus. Those rules change. As much as we get confused about when the portal opens and how many windows they have, the dead periods seemingly change every year. So, you can text, but you can't reach out on social media. You can host them on campus, but only if they reach out first. Unofficial visits, official. I hate it all.
It's one of the reasons why I got out of college coaching, by the way.
I'm sure. I can't imagine how unbelievably difficult it is.
By the way, I think Friday the 16th is the last day you can enter the transfer portal, with the exception of the teams that are in the college football playoff or the championship. So Miami and Indiana.
Which, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into all of that because there's something else I want to bring up.
What's that?
So I've been promising, it was one of my New Year's resolutions, not to be dramatic about big numbers in the portal, right? I think the first couple of portal years, if you had 30 names in the portal, oh no, something must be wrong with your culture. Why do people want to leave? And we've learned that it's just becoming much more of a business. And you may have, given someone $400,000 last year and then told them, listen, based on your play, we can only offer you $70,000 this year. And of course they're going to leave, right? Just what that says. So not every player leaving wants to leave. We don't know. Some of them, it may be mutual, like a true, hey, it's better for you if you leave and find opportunity elsewhere. Better for us if we can use your scholarship and spot for someone else. So I'm not getting bent out of shape about big numbers. I'm trying to limit it in just to the difference makers, right? Just to the big dominoes that could fall. So this was as of this morning. I know people are going in and out of the portal constantly, committing and whatever. But as of this morning, I was on 247 Sports, one of the better sites for tracking all of this. And I was looking at the 3 schools in the triangle, right? NC State, UNC, Duke. And they have this rating system. It's a bit convoluted, but basically 0.9 all the way up to 1 is high 4-star, right? Those are the big fish, if you will. There are 7 players, according to 247 Sports, that are either leaving a triangle school or are committed to come out of the portal and join a triangle school. I should correct that. All 7 are leaving. None of them are joining one of the schools. So of the quote-unquote high 4-stars, or the 0.9 and above ranked recruits according to 247 Sports, all of them are leaving. None of them are joining. NC State's losing Hollywood Smothers, Terrell Anderson, Jacarius Peak, and Noah Rogers, all 0.9 or above. UNC is losing Kamori House, 0.9 or above. And Duke is losing Quayshawn Brown and Terry Moore, 0.9 or above. And none of them, as of this morning on 247, had commits from anybody 0.9 or above on that rating scale, which tells you the challenge that these schools are dealing with. I don't think they are small chip stacks teams. I don't think they are, the poorest Power 5 out there and just can't afford. I think there are a few super deep pockets teams that are buying it all up. That's what is kind of happening here. So the challenge for the schools that we cover is you're going to have to identify talent better than the big chip stacks. Their job is easier. They can look at somebody and say, he had 1,000 yards. He's probably a 1,000-yard rusher. You have to look at somebody and say, they had 600 yards, but it's because of the way they were used, or it's because they haven't quite developed this that we can help them develop, and they'll be 1,000 yards next year. Develop your front office. Develop your front office. Learn your analytics, because I don't think this is going to change anytime soon. Texas is going to keep buying their players, right? Indiana is going to keep buying their players. It's not going to change, so you're going to have to be better at it. You can get mad or you can get to work. That's number 5. How about number 4?
1, 2, 3, 4 all together.
Oh, we talked with Dan Morgan earlier today, and I did not have to ask him, so what do you think of the coaching carousel? Because they made the postseason, and because the last 2 years they've had 3 more wins than the previous year. Dave Canales is locked in, at least for the foreseeable future, and it appears, barring a surprise hire by another team and a promotion, that their coordinators will remain in place as well. So, stability for the Panthers. If you look around the NFL, there's not a lot of stability anywhere else. We're waiting on a couple of big dominoes to fall, but I think the Pittsburgh opening, which popped out yesterday when Mike Tomlin stepped down from his coach, will slow that down. The reports for today, if you just want the latest, are this is actually, I always think of this as funny. John Harbaugh is reportedly in the Giants facility, and it's their goal not to let him leave without signing a contract. I always have visions of they have Andrew Thomas and I don't know, the rest of their offensive line at the doors, standing there linking arms come on, John, you're not leaving. John Harbaugh would be a big, if he wants to continue coaching, by all accounts he does, he would be kind of the big domino to fall on the coaching side. I think Pittsburgh might be the big domino to fall on the other side. Maybe for everyone except John Harbaugh, because I do think he's still loyal to the Ravens and wouldn't do that. But until either the Steelers make a hire, which I think they'll take their time because they just opened up, or John Harbaugh picks a spot, I think everything else is kind of on hold because you want to make sure you don't miss out on those two. The Steelers, Dennis, you're gonna think I'm pushing a narrative here.
All right.
The Steelers requested Nathan Skeelhouse.
All right. You're very high on this guy.
I like the people that have co-signed for him. I'm a big fan of Matt Campbell, the guy that just took the Penn State job. Iowa State is where Skeelhouse ended up being the kind of fast-rising assistant coach all the way up to offensive coordinator. And then he was poached by Sean McVay, and he was the pass game coordinator for the Rams last year. And he's 35 years old. That's what the Steelers do. Granted, it's always defensive coaches, but they hire mid-30s risers who nobody expects them to hire, and then it works out exceptionally. I'm just saying there's possibility there. The other thing that's happening is a lot of coordinators are losing their jobs. Do you know what is going to be an issue here? And, you hope the Panthers don't have to deal with this. But the impatience in the NFL is kind of drying up the well of young, exciting coaches. Because it used to be you had to be 40-something, right? You had to be a position coach for 10 years, then a coordinator for 10 years before you got your head coaching opportunity. But now it could be you don't even have to be a coordinator right now. Skeelhouse is getting interviewed, and he's a pass game coordinator, not even the offensive coordinator. So if he goes up, all of these guys get promoted early and they fail, they were supposed to be the next generation of guys that were waiting their time. There's going to be a dry well of young opportunists, coordinators, and head coaches in the near future. So if you don't have your guy, you're going to have to be looking a little bit more outside the box pretty darn soon. Udinsky from Jacksonville is getting a bunch of head coaching interviews. He's a 30-year-old offensive coordinator.
That's wild.
If he gets promoted and fails by the time he's 34, he was supposed to be the guy ready to take a head coach job 10 years from now, and he won't be there because he would have been, the guy that failed with the Jets or whatever. It's just a weird twist on the coaching market right now.
I agree, though. I think if I'm a potential head coach, I think the job I do want is Pittsburgh simply because of the history of stability.
Yes.
So if I have my options, it's probably the one I'm going to.
There's obviously two ways to look at it. I don't think football-wise it's the best scenario. But I think it might not need to be because you'll get more time to turn it into the best scenario. Football-wise, it's probably the Ravens because of Lamar Jackson. But you have to be a believer in a particular type of offense if you're going to make it work with a running quarterback. Low-key, I think the Giants might be the worst. Part of that might be because I'm not a true believer in Jackson Dart, but also New York media, it's a rough place. I don't know. That one might not be great for me. Sometimes the worst job to take as a coach is the one, like, it might be better football-wise than others, but it's where they think they're, like, ready to win. Like, if you take over Cleveland, I think everybody's of the belief, like, this is a rebuild. This is going to take some time. So, you get to be realistic. The Giants, I think, they think they're ready to win, and I think they're far away from winning. And that's worse, even if they are a slightly better roster than what Cleveland is dealing with. That's number 4. How about we get to number 3? Is that the late night bell?
Yeah, it is. Last call.
All right. I like that. UNC at Stanford. Men's basketball tonight, 9 p.m. Opening tip for that one. UNC's coming off, I would say, 2 for sure. Perhaps 3, depending on how you look at the Florida State game, which ended up being a double-digit win, but it was close. Coming off two games that make you go, all right, hey, lock in here. Right? Lock in here. This is I'll give you maybe the most stretch of an analogy I've ever used, okay? There was a point in time where I had what some may say bounce, okay? I was a high jumper in high school, and the yearbook was there to take my picture while I high jumped. Isn't that my guy Ryan was the photographer? And I went, all right, yeah, you can take my picture. I'll start in, because in high jump, you usually, like, you can keep passing and start at whatever height you want. I was like, I'll start in at a lower height than I'm used to, so I can, like, kind of style it out for you. And you only get 3 mess ups before you're eliminated at each height. And I messed up twice on a height that I should jump a million times. And Ryan looked at me and was like, no, man, you got lock in. Like, do it. I need you to get over the bar here. This isn't funny. He's my buddy, and he knew how high I could jump. He wasn't, like, worried, but he was kind of like, stop messing around and do it. I'm kind of there with UNC. Like, you lost to SMU. SMU's a good team, right? You got beat by, 14, 15 points, whatever it was. But SMU's a good team. All right, ha. Wake Forest has not beaten really anybody of merit this year, and they took you down to the wire 87-84. You won, but still, like, ha. Lock in, right? So stop messing around. Stanford is the one where it's like, clear the bar by 8 inches. You know what I mean? Like, you've come in at a lower height. Like, get way over it and stop messing around. Forget about the pictures, right? I need UNC to go out there against Stanford, have a 20-10 night from Caleb Wilson, have a 18-11 night from Henry Vasar, have Seth Trimble score his 14, and have this one be put away by, 5 minutes left in the game. Be up 15 and cruising. That's what I need from UNC tonight. Need might be the wrong term. Want, right? What you need is a win, right? What you need is to clear the bar. But what would make me go, all right, good, is a nice dominant win on the West Coast against Stanford. That's what I need. Number 3. How about number 2?
Just the 2 of us.
Really last call now.
That's West Coast last call.
The lights are turning on. Like, you don't got to go home, but you got to get the heck out of here. Duke, 11 p.m. opening tip at Cal. I said this about Cal earlier. They could not be more 11th best team in the ACC, right? This is not, well, if you average their offense and their defense, they're about, a little lower middle class in the ACC. No, their defense, almost exactly 11th. Their offense, almost exactly 11th. I'll give you the exact numbers here. If you look at this game, Cal, goodness gracious, my computer was going crazy there. They have the 11th best points per game in the ACC. They have the 10th fewest points allowed in the ACC, and they are 12th in the standings. And every analytic gets you further and further to, all right, that's exactly the quality that they play. They are not. There's like 4 teams that are kind of the bottom tier in the ACC. I'd say there's 5, maybe 6 teams vying to be the top tier in the ACC. Cal is squarely on the bottom half of the rest. Like, they are right there. So for Duke, I think it's a mental challenge, especially because we've seen a few times this season, and credit to Coach John Shire for being able to kind of push the right buttons, but we've gotten the legends, the myths of like halftime speeches where he had to really let them know, like, hey, you're playing soft. Hey, they're treating you like little boys out there. Like, he's given those speeches a few times, and to their credit, they've always answered in the second half. But at some point, you got to the flip. The switch has to flip to not needing the halftime wake-up speech to start playing your best basketball, even if you're not playing Louisville or even if you're not playing SMU or a top 25 team. So the challenge of Cal is that they are squarely the 11th best team in the ACC. Right? Because the 11th best team in the ACC this year is good enough to beat you if you overlook them. But they're also not good enough that you go into the game super amped. Right? They're right kind of in that sweet spot of a trap game, if you will. And if you look at Duke, what did they just come off of? Back-to-back ranked opponents, right? Back-to-back games. Louisville, they were down at half, had to storm back. SMU was a close game all the way through. They're both 2 of the better teams in the ACC. Now you have a letdown. You go to the West Coast. You're playing 11 o'clock Eastern time. I don't even know how basketball teams treat that. Right? Football teams, you probably travel a day earlier. You try to get your team on the right schedule. You get blackout shades in the hotel to make sure that your guys can sleep the hours you want them to sleep. Basketball, you don't have that kind of time, right? You played on Saturday, you're going to play again on Wednesday. You got to be in Durham for a little bit. I don't know. It's going to be a challenge for them, and I'm interested to see how they start. I think even if they start slow, they'll get the wake-up speech from John Shire. They'll likely be able to win. But I hope for their sake, right? If you're a Duke fan, you're hoping that they don't need that and they can find a way to muster their own energy. And you need Isaiah Evans or somebody to be a dependable second scorer. That's more of the basketball story I have for Duke. We talked about it earlier. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go on! Let's do that hockey.
Canes lost last night. They were shut out for the first time this season, 3-0. You don't like that one, Dennis? You don't like
the fact they got shut out? No, I
don't
don't
like
like the fact
getting
they got shut out.
They did give up a power play goal, which, Dennis, that was your if then.
Yeah, I have concerns about the penalty kill.
Are they okay? Let me ask you. That's a fantastic place to start. The power play, although they were 0 for 3 last night, really has turned it around since the beginning of December, somewhere around then. They kind of flipped the switch and have been doing a lot better. Has that maybe masked a little bit of concern for the penalty kill, or is it just Slavin's going to knock the rust off and they'll be A-okay?
Yeah, I just think we kind of assumed that, it's fine. They've had some injuries and all that kind of stuff. But even when they have been healthy or near close to healthy, it still hasn't been great.
And, there's the added thing of if you're going to take dumb penalties, you better be good on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
And it hasn't always quite been that. Is there, and this is, I'm gonna just preface this. This might be my most unfun question I've ever asked.
Okay.
Is there too much hunting shorthanded goals?
Too much hunting for shorthanded
I don't know.
goals?
It just seems like the Canes get a ton of them. And at the same time, maybe the penalty kill is wavering a little bit. It's just shorthanded goals are awesome and they're so much fun. I'm just asking the question.
I don't know if they're hunting for it, but obviously if the opportunity is there, you're going to take it, but I don't know if necessarily is.
I don't know. Sometimes it's like, just clear the puck and kill some time and get back into position or make the change if you need to make it. There was one.
Last 23 games, they only have one shorthanded goal.
But it seems like last night there was a moment, I think it was last night. The games do bleed together. We had 2 in back-to-back nights. Mm-hmm. One of the last 2 nights, there was one where Aho went for it, and it was an opportunity, didn't score, and then he was behind the net, And it's very rare for Aho, but he wasn't able to make up the distance on the other way, and they were playing essentially 2 men down for 5 seconds, right? He was trying to catch up. And it just made me go, you know what? These shorthanded goals are awesome, but would that have been better treated with just a clear and a making sure that you're in perfect place? And I don't think they gave up the goal on the other side, so it was no harm, no foul. But I'm just floating that out there as something to watch.
By the way, the last 23 games, opponents are scoring at an average clip of 22% on the power play. So you're 78% as a PK.
That's, again, like we've taken it for maybe granted in the past because they've been so good, but that's not good by a lot of standards. Definitely not Kane's good if you believe in a thing.
And if you look at the first 24 games of the season, so again, just splitting up the season, it was 20.5% was what opponents were scoring on the power play. So it's actually the second half of the season has been slightly worse than it was the first half of the year.
All right. Something to monitor for sure. Special teams are always going to be something to monitor. There is a side quest here, and I'm even a bit reluctant to bring this up because in a 3-0 game, there's blame to go to everybody, and nobody really necessarily played well. But do you know who may have been one of the more, if not the most effective player on the ice for the Canes last night? I kind of like the way Kokoniemi played. He had a couple of hits. He was at least in some shot-taking opportunities. I think he had 2 or 3 of them as far as shots on goal. That is the Kokoniemi thing. That is the KK thing. And I'm not saying it like it's a huge negative, but he always does just enough to remind me of the potential in there. And for whatever reason, it rarely comes out, consistently. But in 14 minutes last night, he was far from the biggest problem on the ice for the Canes. And that might say something, right? Jankowski, there were some of the the better players on the ice last night. That line may have been the best. So I don't know. Maybe if you're still entertaining the trade talks, he boosted his value a little bit, right? You're going to send everybody and be like, "You're the best player on the ice for us last night." Granted, we lost 3-0, and that doesn't say much. Not a high bar to jump over, but it is something to monitor, right? He's been pushed back into the lineup by some injuries, and he's at least showing flashes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. For more details on that game from Jesper Kokoniemi's line all the way on up to the power play, penalty kill, and everything we just talked about, here is Adam Gold with 2 minutes of gold.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 points that the Carolina Hurricanes were never going to get as they close out a 2-game road trip in St. Louis, and it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers, parkwaysleep.com. Sometimes it's all about the attitude, and last night, I'm just not sure Carolina had the right attitude to do what was necessary to beat the Blues.
Every day I have the blues.
Now the Blues, they can have numbers coming in, teeing it up Bjugstad, and he scores! Short-handed, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. It's here out in front, they score, Dvorsky. The rookie has put St. Louis up 2-0.
When you see me worrying, baby, it's you I hate to lose.
Opportunity here for Cutter, they score! Out in front, it's Jimmy Snuggerud, and the Blues have exploded here in this second period.
It really did come down to focus last night. The Hurricanes were not mentally prepared to do what was necessary, to play the way they played in Detroit, to do it again in St. Louis. For whatever reason, it's a long season. Every team's going to have games like this. Brandon Bussey could not save them last night. I thought Bussey's first and third goals could have, maybe should have, both been stopped. If Brandon Bussey isn't going to save you, you're probably not going to win the game the way Carolina was playing. The truth is, they came back from 3 goals down in Detroit because they were playing well. Last night, no chance to come back the way they were playing, and it proved out. So, let's all get ready for Florida on Friday. Let's be a goldfish and forget what just happened in St. Louis. Plus, this was a great opportunity just to hear B.B. King, wasn't it? Parkway Sleep Health Center. Sound sleep, sound health, sound off for B.B. King. And 2 points that Carolina was never going to get.
The Canes next take to the ice with after a couple days off that they desperately probably want. It'll be a home game against Florida on Friday and then Saturday at New Jersey. Next up for the Canes, you can hear all those games, as always, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. If you're staying up late to watch some games, well, you're going to want to know what time it is, and you're going to want to make sure you don't miss it as you go about however you kill time until late-night games. And to do that, go to Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Grab yourself a luxury timepiece. It could be a pre-owned or vintage Rolex, largest selection in the state. Could be an Omega, the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games since 1932. Could be a Norcane. We haven't talked about Norcanes recently. The official watch of the NHL Players Association. And what they do, the Norcane, that I really, really appreciate, is they let you show your personality, right? They have more pops of color. They have maybe some, like the Wild Ones dial, something that's a little bit more crazy. The model is called Wild Ones. It's a skeleton dial. You can see all of the workings of a luxury timepiece on the inside there. It's truly incredible. I mean, they are more statement pieces that let you show your personality. So if you're a little bit more of a loud personality, Norcane can make sure you make the statement you want to make. Go into the let me give you the full directions here. You go into Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location, make a right, all the way to the right. You go into the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, and then you hook a quick left. And it's right there in the showcase, the display, the Norcanes. You will not be able to miss them. When you're in there and you're making that path, that direction that I just gave you, make sure you ask about the watches. The experts there will give you all the information you need to know. And then you tell them that you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location in Raleigh. We have the numbers game, and we need a couple contestants for the numbers game. We have a $25 Hardee's gift card going to the winner, and it could be you. Call in now if you want to play. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to play the numbers game and potentially win a $25 gift card to Hardee's. Stick around. Numbers game next.
Listen for college football's best through January 19th. From the Military Bowl to the Natty in Miami, every major bowl game will be brought to you live.
The Miami Hurricanes are headed back to the championship game, and they'll have a chance to win it at their home stadium. Miami 31, Ole Miss 27.
Bowl season on 99.9 The Fan and Buzz Sports is presented by Wake Med, Roofworks, and Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford.
The Wrap Up the Year sales event is on at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Right now, you could get 0% financing for 60 months on a new 2026 Ram 1500. Or even better, 0% for 72 months on a new 2025 Ram 1500. Or take advantage of 20% off any new Ram 1500 in stock. See dealer for details. In other words, it is time to get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
I feel like I am special, that I'm receiving an award for being an athlete.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Batter up! The Durham Bulls are hiring for seasonal, part-time, and game day positions at our job fair Saturday morning, January 24th from 10 to 1 at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. You could move forward in the hiring process the same day. Our schedules work around your life. Whether you're a student, parent, or juggling another job, no experience required, just passion. Be part of the experience that turns first-time guests into Bulls fans for life. The Durham Bulls Season Job Fair, January 24th from 10 to 1. See you at the ballpark.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We have Isaiah in Wake Forest and Jared in Durham getting ready to battle it out in jersey number trivia, with the winner taking home a $25 gift card to Hardee's. Those are the stakes. First, we have to figure out who goes first. So we'll bring on Isaiah in Wake Forest. Isaiah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to ask you a question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer out of the two contestants, and that person will get to go first. We're going to go with an oldie but a goodie. We're talking jersey number trivia. So, what is the greatest jersey in the history of the world? We're talking about a design, not like a player's jersey. The logo, this throwback, the current this, whatever. In all of sports, college, pro, any sport, what's the greatest jersey?
Oh, man, that's tough. I would say I really like the Florida Gators alternative jersey where it looked like it was like gator skin. I thought that was pretty neat.
All right. That's I wouldn't say the most common answer, but you're going with the Gators gator skin alternate. Dennis, any follow-ups?
None.
Perfect. We'll go to Jared in Durham. Jared, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Same question to you. We're talking jersey number trivia in the numbers game. So what is the greatest jersey of all time? We're talking like a design, a throwback, the actual jersey, not an individual player's.
I'm going to go with the Indiana Pacers pinstripes.
Okay, Pacers pinstripe. You are locked in. Dennis, you get to pick the winner here. These are not two that I think are the most common answers. They are a little off the board, but I like that our contestants are showing their own flavor.
The yellow or blue pinstripe?
Blue.
Blue. Okay.
Is that going to sway it?
Well, I mean, I just wanted a little more specificity. That's all. Yellow or blue.
All right, we're going with the Gators gator skin alternate or the Pacers blue pinstripe.
It's the Pacers pinstripe. If we said yellow or blue, it wouldn't have mattered.
Okay.
I just want a little more specificity. So I'm not gonna lie. I was like, let me look up this Florida Gators, like gator print jersey.
Gator skin.
Not gonna lie, it kind of sucks.
Okay. Now I got to know. Gator skin.
I'm not going to lie. It does not look
Florida.
good. You can't even see the number because there's an orange number on like a green scaly looking thing.
I mean, they're hideous, but they're so bad they're kind of cool.
Sure. I'll let you wear it.
That's Oregon makes a living off of wearing stuff like that.
Not like that.
You know what?
Not hideous ugly. I mean, they might be weird colors, but not that.
They are hideous. Don't get me wrong.
Gross.
But like they kind of blew past the line of hideous and came all the way back around to like, maybe.
No, it's not like this ugly dog's cute. That's not what
that's
is.
exactly what it is.
It's not
That's
what
exactly
that
what
is.
Either way, that means the Pacers alternate wins almost by default, sounding like from what Dennis said. So Jared and Durham will get to go first. Don't worry, you'll have your chance, Isaiah. Just have to sit on hold for a second. Jared, you ready to pick a category?
Let's do it.
All right, we have NFL players, Panthers throughout history, NFL players with mid-January birthdays, NBA players born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's do the NFL mid-January.
All right. NFL players all born in mid-January. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There'll be 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts.
28.
Correct. J.J. McCarthy, Minnesota Vikings.
8.
Incorrect. Jake Elliott, Philadelphia Eagles.
4.
Correct. Deebo Samuel, Washington Commanders.
10.
Incorrect. J.J. McCarthy, Minnesota Vikings.
9.
Correct. Byron Leftwich, Jacksonville Jaguars.
24.
Incorrect. Deebo Samuel, Washington Commanders.
88.
Incorrect. Byron Leftwich, Jacksonville Jaguars.
14.
Incorrect. Deebo Samuel. Well, you got Jonathan Taylor. I'm glad you got J.J. McCarthy because his alternate ego is 9, and that would have been a one miss. Jake Elliott, 4 was a good pull. Deebo with the Commanders wears number 1. And do you have any clue who Byron Leftwich is?
I do not, to be honest.
Do you mind if I ask you how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 27.
That hurts. That just hurts.
That stings.
27-year-old Byron Leftwich, quarterback. Go if you have some time, go look up Byron Leftwich hurt ankle at Marshall. It is one of the cooler games in history. But he's number 7. Not that you would have had to get lucky on that one. But 3 is a solid number. Stay on the line. We'll see if 3 holds up, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Gosh, a 27-year-old doesn't know who Byron Leftwich is. Probably is like, oh, is he the old offensive coordinator from Tampa Bay? Didn't know he played. Jared in Durham, Isaiah in Wake Forest. You are up. Isaiah, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players, Panthers throughout history, NBA players born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
I'm going to go Carolina Panthers throughout history.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other category. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. You need 4 for the win, and your time will start when you hear the horn. Stephen Davis, Carolina Panthers.
25.
Incorrect. Kevin Green, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
Steve Bertline, Carolina Panthers.
54.
Incorrect. Stephen Davis, Carolina Panthers.
30.
Incorrect. Kevin Green, Carolina Panthers.
32.
Incorrect. Steve Bertline, Carolina Panthers.
64.
Incorrect. Stephen Davis, Carolina Panthers.
30.
Incorrect. Kevin Green, Carolina Panthers.
32.
Incorrect. Steve Bertline.
I've never heard of any of those players.
I think this might be a generation gap as well. If you don't mind, how old are you?
I'm 16.
Yeah. Bruh. Yeah, these players are a little before your time. But they're all like famous. They're all good players. They did some damage, but a little before your time. For those of you playing at home, Stephen Davis 48, Kevin Green 91, Steve Bertline 7. Unfortunately, not enough for the win, Isaiah, but hopefully you had some fun.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That means Jared in Durham is the winner. Jared, congratulations.
Woo, thank you.
I know I gave you a little bit of a homework assignment to go watch the Byron Leftwich Marshall injury game, but at least we're also giving you a $25 gift card to Hardee's. So congratulations, you earned it. Stay on the line, and Dennis will grab the info he needs to make sure you get your prize.
Cool.
All right, there you go. You know what? The numbers game is making me feel older and older every time we do it. Every time there's a player from my youth or even from like my young adulthood and somebody who like is old enough to call into radio stations is like, I've never heard of that person before in my life. I'm like, awesome. Great.
Yeah, I'm older than you. How do you think I feel?
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not I hope I'm not the only one that feels old when somebody has no clue who Byron Leftwich is. And I'm not blaming him. It's just Byron Leftwich's career had come and gone by that point. Man. Steve Bertline, just absolutely nothing. Stephen Davis. And when I said Stephen Davis, it sounded like it may have triggered some memory from a long time ago. And then by the time he thought about it, he was just like, no clue. I mean, they don't even know positions. Kevin Green, come on. All right, that's me. That's the end of me just being an old guy yelling about how young people don't know. You know what? Actually, I think this is also true. There's no ESPN Classic anymore, right? I probably know athletes from before my time because if there was ever a game you didn't want to watch, or the Sports Center for the 75th time on ESPN, the main station, you could jump over to ESPN Classic and catch some game from the 80s and you'd learn about players from before your time. There is none of that anymore. I guess you have to go on YouTube and look it up yourself, but you're not choosing the old games if you have all those other options. I think that might be part of it. Because I think if I did, I was born in 91, I think if I did numbers from the 80s and they were players of the level of like Stephen Davis and Kevin Green, I think I'd be okay. I'm not saying I'd get them all, but I think I'd be okay. ESPN Classic, I don't think we knew how much we depended on that. Remember the countdown show? The ESPN Classic, the number 4, and it would just be like best plays of the 80s, and they just count them down. Number 777. And it would be some run by Emmitt Smith. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's probably not even a good one. He's not in the 80s. Be some run by Tony Dorsett. How about that?
There you go.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
There's Eric Dickerson.
I mean, we could go on. Herschel Walker. We could go on and on.
It's dudes naming dudes now.
I mean, but wouldn't you say we were pretty good about naming players? Like, I'd know more jersey numbers of people like 10 years before I was born than I think that is an ESPN Classic thing.
Yeah, probably.
I think we used to, we only had so many options. Occasionally you watched, some playoff game featuring the Cowboys or the Niners from the 80s, and you were just watching. Now I know Roger Craig. That's just something that happened.
I don't know about you, but I had a lot of just baseball cards and things like that growing up as well. I don't know how popular that is with kids. I know, Pokemon cards. I know there's been kind of like a resurgence of that over years, but we just had those. Which is what you did. You just looked through them and just looking at the stats on the cards and all that kind of stuff. You looked at them so much, you just through osmosis, you memorized it all.
My son's into that a little bit, the cards. So I'm obviously like super encouraging it because it was part of my childhood, and I want to pass that along. He has this binder with his cards, and we've organized them by team. But the old ones, because randomly they give you like a pack of cards now, and it'll be CeeDee Lamb, it'll be Rachaad White, all the current players, and they'll throw in like a Dan Marino. And so if you go to my son's binder right now, knowing I did most of the organizing with him, the front page is all of the old timers. It's like John Elway, Dan Marino, Randy Moss, all these old timers, and then we get into the current players because I'm trying to teach them the classics. Even if all the young kids don't know them, mine will. They'll know the classics. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, and I'll get off my soapbox about the old times, Dennis Cox has something he wants to say.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. The Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. That's right, I said it. A custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. It can be yours. All you got to do, enter to win. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. Again, caniacsbike.com to enter. The deadline to enter, by the way, it's March 29th, so you got time. Tell a friend to go to caniacsbike.com to enter. The bike will be given away live on April 4th at the game and includes tickets and a catered suite, folks. It includes tickets and a catered suite. That in and of itself is pretty awesome. Imagine rolling away from that ticket or from that game, from that catered suite on your brand new custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. Again, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. caniacsbike.com. I can't win it, but you can. Just let me test ride it. That's all I ask. Just let me take it for a spin in the parking lot. That's all I ask. Go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, passes out some awards, some superlatives, if you will, for the Panthers season that just ended. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
I've heard all the tired complaints about the transfer portal, which is wide open. It's like the NFL, right? So much free agency, everyone's moving. But trust me, college is a finite experience. If you had a shred of talent and can make the kind of money that they're making in just 4 or maybe 5 years, you do the same thing. Just keep moving.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-718-4040. That's 800-718-4040. 800-718-4040.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I know a lot of people struggle with the New Year's resolution, sticking with the plan. This is where Raleigh Weight Loss Center comes in, folks. It's an actual plan for you to follow. You stick with the plan, you follow the guidelines, you're going to see results. I joined Raleigh Weight Loss Center, and I lost over 40 pounds, lost over 15% on my body weight, and it's the new year. Get on that plan. That person can be you. No shots or injections, no side effects, no steroids, no HGH, no juicing up. It's all about resetting your metabolism. That way your body can do the natural thing. Give them a call at 919-897-7506 or visit RileightWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone call. Again, free 15-minute phone call. You got questions, you got concerns, you got health issues, bring that all to the table. Have all those questions answered. 919 919-897-7506 or RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up that free 15-minute phone consultation. Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Results may vary. Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Loan Pronto. The best financial move you can make this time of year, how about lowering your mortgage rate to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by giving Loan Pronto a call. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get out a ton of cash. You can pay off all those high-interest credit cards and even skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait. There's no hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. So act now. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. Start this new year by wiping out all your higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 919-381-1760 and see how much cash you can get today. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget, I'm going to continue to remind you, we are making the Dan Morgan interview from earlier today as available as we possibly can. We're going to be replaying it to start Overdrive at 6. So if you missed it earlier today, Dan Morgan, Panthers GM, joined us on the phone lines, and you'll hear it at 6. You can also find it on our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe while you're there. And 99.9 The Fan app, which can be found in the Google Play and App Stores. You can also catch it in there. Again, download it, create your little profile. You can win stuff. It's a whole thing. But Dan Morgan joined us, and we're appreciative of it, and we want to make sure we pass that along to as many of you as possible. Sticking with the Panthers, how about we do a little awards passing out for this season that was. Their season obviously just ended, made it all the way to the postseason, lasted longer than many of us thought they would. And because of that, I thought we'd have some fun. We'll do the traditional ones, MVP, Rookie of the Year, that kind of stuff, but also get into some traditional high school superlatives and see how many we can pass out. I'm going to breeze through some of these, Dennis, just to make it time efficient. Rookie of the Year, Tedero McMillan. I think he's the Rookie of the Year in the league, so of course for the Panthers.
Cut and dry, done.
Comeback Player of the Year, Derek Brown.
Yep, cut and dry, done.
MVP, where do you lean? Because my choice, if I had a vote, would go back to Derek Brown.
That's what I would lean to as well.
I think, and part of that is how bad the defense was last year shows how valuable he is. And now that he's back, and they're not a world beater, but they were a lot better. That's where I lean. Hopefully that will be taken away by some people in the future. He won't be the MVP for long because I think you'd want your quarterback, you'd want a few others to take that mantle. But for now, it's Derek Brown's. What about Coach of the Year? And this could be anyone on staff. I put Rob Moore, the wide receivers coach. Losing Adam Thielen in a trade right before the season, David Moore being injured, Hunter Renfrow in and out of the lineup, mostly young guys. And I think for the most part, especially McMillan and Coker, but Jimmy Horn in limited opportunity. Bryson Tremaine made some plays from a guy that, up until he basically made the roster, I wasn't convinced he was going to make the roster. I think he did a really good job developing a young wide receiver core that will now pay dividends, right? If they don't have to spend huge resources this offseason on wide receivers, I think that gives them a real chance to level up some other positions.
I was actually going to go with defensive pass game coordinator, Jonathan Cooley, because you got to think of the amount of interceptions that the team – I think the Carolina Panthers, remember correctly, were 8th in the NFL in interception percentage defensively. It's a pretty massive jump. And the fact that you have both your corners, if you include the playoff game, get 5 interceptions, no other cornerback duo in the entire NFL did that.
You touched on it. So I think now we can transition over to the more fun ones. I went to a website. I just typed in high school superlative list, and they gave me a list of the most stereotypical high school yearbook superlatives. And one of them was cutest couple. And I was going to put Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn for everything you just said.
I like it.
10 interceptions is the most by any duo this season when you combine regular and postseason. And on top of that, like not just interceptions, some of the biggest highlights of the year. The one-handed grabs by J.C. Horn, the pick six in the first Rams game by Mike Jackson, back of the end zone toe tap by Mike Jackson. Like these are some of the biggest plays of the season. So they were my cutest couple. You can take this whatever direction you want, but every list I found had most likely to succeed. I'm putting Nick Scorton.
Okay.
For the reason being, it felt like he's like 20 years old. I mean, he's like a kid.
Yeah, he turned 21 at the end of August after the final preseason game.
But he felt like a pro from the beginning, right? He just like impacting the game in like the small glue guy ways, like just showing up as consistent as he could. He felt like a pro from the very beginning. So it's like most likely to succeed. Like I could see him leading a defense one day as a captain. But obviously he's not going to do that in the first couple of years he's in the league. So I put most likely to succeed Nick Scorton. All right, now the rest of these I don't have answers for yet, so we're going to have to talk it out on air. Best person to share a deserted island with.
Best person to share a deserted island with.
I think you got to go Tedero McMillan. He grew up in Hawaii.
I guess.
I mean, if you're going to ask for somebody that can, perhaps did some spear fishing, which is popular, knows how to husk a coconut, like I think you're looking Tedero McMillan just off of geography.
I'll say, who's going to give me the best chance to survive if I'm stuck out on a deserted island?
There could be some Trevon Merrick. Trevon Merrick seems like a guy who could, like, chase down a game animal on foot.
I'd say he wrestled down a boar or something. Either that or Christian Roseboom.
Christian Roseboom,
actually.
the hair helps. It just makes it feel like more Castaway-ish. Most likely to be president. Got to be Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce always says the right things.
He already kind of talks like a little bit like a politician, just making sure all the constituents feel loved. There's probably something that goes along with quarterback and president. There's just natural connections there. We may come back to that one. Most likely to star in their own reality show.
Oh, that's actually a really good one. Most likely to star in their own reality show? I feel like this either has to go to a wide receiver or a defensive back. It might go to Xavier Legette.
100%. I was not thinking there. He might already have one in the works.
You never know.
His last offseason was basically, he was in rap videos, hip-hop videos. He was at the Kentucky Derby. He was
at a Canes game?
He was at Canes games. He was doing a little bit of everything. That's a great answer.
Who else did you have in mind?
For some reason, I was going to go Derek Brown just because he's obviously comfortable being himself. He's super honest after games. But
he really is.
But
genuinely.
That's the wrong answer. The right answer is Xavier Legette. I could also see maybe Andy Dalton having like a HGTV show.
Okay.
Like he and his wife flipping houses or something.
I could see that.
Like,
all right.
I don't know. He keeps his hair nice. Most likely to survive if the team were in the Hunger Games. You got to be ruthless. Got to be willing to end some of your buddies. Got to be willing to hide. Got to be a little stealthy. My first instinct was Ashawn Robinson because I'm like, no one's beating him in a fight. But also, I don't think he's like outrunning any monsters or anything.
No, but he could take one down. Ashawn's not a bad answer. I say I might go Robert Hunt.
Robert Hunt? Yeah, we're both going for like sumo wrestling. Like we're going for just pure strength.
It's either that or I'm going right back to Trayvon Merrick.
I might go like Jimmy Horn.
Okay.
Like just straight hiding and on the run, on the move. You're not catching up to him. Last one here. And these are all from an online list. These aren't mine. Most likely to dance in a Beyonce music video. Who's going to put a ring on it? Whoa, uh-oh. There's a lot of options.
I feel like this has got to go to a wide receiver or defensive back again.
No, I don't.
They got the personalities for it. Let's be honest.
You could also put like a Damian Lewis in there.
Nah, Damian Lewis wouldn't do that.
Could be a Chuba Hubbard.
Nah, not Chuba. Chuba's calm, cool, collected.
Could be Jatavian Sanders.
Yeah.
We'll go to Jamian Sanders.
Right,
That's our worst one. More bad one to end on. Before we move on and get you to Overdrive and hear from Dan Morgan, Tim Donnelly here for Mainer Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. I mean, if I were going to be on a deserted island, but I knew that there was a house, I'd want Mainer Service Company to come with me because they could fix it all. I'd just grab a drink with an umbrella in it and hang out. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. We take them for granted, and we should, right? But if there's ever a hiccup, if something goes wrong, Mainer Service Company has 24 hours a day, 7-day-a-week service all across the triangle. You've seen their trucks out and about. That's because they are always out and about, and they have plenty of technicians to cover all our problems. Again, heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. It's basically the gamut. If you have a need, give them a call. 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or visit them online at MainerServices.com, MAYNOR Services.com. Let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Again, Overdrive's going to start off with Dan Morgan. He joined the show earlier today. We're going to replay that conversation for you. So enjoy it, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Pondering prizes with Cash Pop? Why pick just one pop when you can pick as many pops as you please? Up to 15. Picture this. You pick your pop, perhaps a powerful 7. Now pick more pops like a proud 9, a pristine 15, a perfect 10. Each pop propagates more potential to pack your pockets with prizes up to $2,500. So prepare for a peppering of prizes with Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Cash Pop. Play more pops, win more prizes. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds charts at nclottery.com. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543. It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $6.99. That's right, just $6.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader. It's 6 o'clock. Time to shift into overdrive. All highlights, no filler. As we run it back from the drive with Tim Donnelly.
Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, as promised, is Dan Morgan, the general manager of the NFC South champion Carolina Panthers. Dan, first of all, thank you for taking the time. I know it's a busy time on your calendar right after the season. We'll start with kind of unexpected news coming out of the postseason. The unfortunate injury to Ike Ekwonu How much does Icky's injury maybe change your plan if you had a plan in place for this offseason?
Yeah, he's getting surgery. He's actually flying out. I think he flew out today to get surgery. Obviously, unfortunate news. Feel bad for him. He was having a good year. I think he was trending in a really good direction. Obviously, we have to, collect the details after the surgery and, just figure out where he is and take it week by week, month by month. And, obviously, from my seat, we're going to have a plan if he's not able to, be available for the season. We'll do our part on our side, and we'll scour, the free agent market, along with the NFL draft as well. So, we'll definitely have to address that if we feel like we need to.
From one injury to another, are you comfortable depending on Jonathan Brooks in the running back room coming off the two injuries that he suffered in the last 2 years?
Yeah, Jonathan's making a lot of progress. He's put a lot of work in. He's in there every day rehabbing. He's getting better every single day. He was actually out on the field, towards the end of the season, running some routes and looking good, hitting some good times on the GPS out there. So I'm really proud of him and the work he's put in. He's looking really good. And then having Chuba and having Trevor Etienne, we feel like we have a good stable of backs, but that doesn't mean that we won't be looking to upgrade there as well. So, and that goes for every position on our team. We're just going to look to add competition at every level.
We're talking with Dan Morgan, Panthers GM on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline.